Welcome to Master the Game. I am Juice, and tonight we are talking to a longtime friend, fellow content producer, and basically just an entrepreneur in every sense of the word, my friend Dave from Nerdarchy.
I'm looking around like, who's he talking about?
Oh, come on, Dave. You know I'm talking about you.
What's up, brother, man? How are you doing?
Not much, man. Just chilling, Been a crazy couple weeks. Obviously you got COVID going on. Everyone getting ready for school. I know you don't have to worry about that as much these days with your kids.
Yeah, I haven't been to school in a long time.
Well, how old are your kids? You got two of them in college now?
Nah, actually today's my daughter's birthday. She's 16.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of drama around that, as always. And then my son, he'll be 20 this year, and he's in his, he's finished his first year of college. So my daughter had a list of birthday demands.
Right.
And
demands?
Demands, yeah. Oh. It's her birthday month. But so she's like wanted to have her belly button pierced, her nose pierced, and a tattoo.
Okay.
She wants to get our dog's paw prints that had passed away a couple of years ago tattooed on her. But I'm not against tattoos. Obviously, I got them all over my body. But I was like, well, you should probably wait till you're 18 to get a tattoo.
In case you regret it.
Yeah. Like I might let her get the paw print just because that's like, that'll always be your first dog that you had all your life growing up. It's not so bad.
I still love my first cat, by the way. My first cat was amazing. Lived for 20 years of my life almost.
Yeah, man, that's a long time. It's like half your life, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So she's one of these three things, and my wife has been like dead set against all of them. And and she finally broke down and let her get the belly button. I'm like, you want to shove metal in your body, go for it. I don't care. Right. It's your body, whatever. Yeah. The only thing I was a little bit on is like, the tattoo you just might want to wait till you're 18. And if I did break down on that one, I'd be like, all right, it's got to be above the elbow or someplace where you can cover it up in case you just want to.
Yeah. Well, and tattoos are kind of becoming more acceptable too.
Yeah, they're definitely a lot more. I mean, even like years ago, like my brother had gotten his first tattoo from the person that I had gotten a couple tattoos from. This is going back like 15 years. And I was like, do what you want, but my advice is just get it above the elbow just in case, But he's like, and everything. He's like, right here, right on the forearm. I'm like, if I was your age, I wouldn't listen to me either.
That's funny. That was your brother Ryan?
Yeah.
Is that your only brother?
No, we have a middle brother.
You have a non-Nerdarchy middle brother?
He appeared in a bunch of the games.
Yeah. Is he a gamer?
He is kind of a gamer.
Is he jealous of Nerdarchy?
I don't think so.
No.
There was some drama in one of our games between him and like Ted, and he sometimes has anger issues. So he was asked not to return to the group.
Oh no.
I don't think we've ever said that, before, but yeah. So it's just like, he was kind of like oil and water with some of the other people. So
right.
Sometimes you just got to find the group that's right for you.
Yeah. So is your daughter doing virtual schooling? She's going back to school? What's going on with that?
Yeah, they've been doing the virtual schooling, and she's also had a couple concussions.
What?
So she's not allowed to have as much screen time. So my wife is going back to virtual school and would have to like do the stuff with her because she's supposed to like not be in front of like the screens as much. When she was at school, she was getting something out of her locker, which was one of the lower lockers, and someone opened the locker above her.
Yeah.
Stood up into it. And then like she got a concussion doing that, and then she fell and danced and got another one. And it's like a dominoes. When you get one concussion, it's just like so easy to get them.
That is crazy, man.
Yeah.
I've never had a concussion as far as I probably did in boot camp. There was a guy, so we did pugil sticks in boot camp where you wear like a football helmet and you got like this chest flap.
I didn't even know you were in the military.
Yeah, Marines. I broke my leg in boot camp though. So I did the Marines. So we were doing pugil sticks. It's like your first month there.
Did they boot you out of boot camp if you break your leg?
I'll tell you the story here. So we have pugil sticks, and this guy that I was going against he had already qualified to be a recon, which is basically the equivalent of
special forces. Yeah.
Yes. He also was a former college football player at Maryland. He played with E.J. Henderson, who went on to be an NFL linebacker and stuff. Anyways, his name was Faircloth, I think was his last name. I can't remember his first name. His father was a Marine. Anyways, so they paired us up because they pair you up by weight. And I was 210 pounds at the time. And so I remember I got myself all pumped up. And like my senior drill instructor, who's the nice drill instructor you get, is like, all right, go get him. And he smacked me on my shoulder. I'm like, oh, and you got a mouth guard. And I'm like, oh, and I ran full speed. And I don't remember what happened other than I felt my head hit the ground and like my feet were above me.
Oh my God.
And so then like he hit me again. I got up and I'm trying to fight back. I probably had a concussion then, but I don't feel like I had symptoms later. I just know that like I didn't see anything for like a second at all. It's like the ground woke me up as I hit it. But so I was almost done with boot camp the week before. So it's called, what was it called? Warrior Week. And you do an endurance course. And so you're basically camping out by the shooting ranges and stuff, rather than your normal squad bay. And you do a lot of hiking and different courses. And I did this thing where you come up from under razor wire, which just touching it slices you wide open. I sliced my thumb open on it. I remember getting up and I'm like, I'm up, they see me, I'm down. And you're supposed to dive. And as soon as I dive, because you have your pack on and everything, I felt my knee like give and it popped. Yeah. And I was like, ooh, and I yelled as it happened. I was like, the one drill instructor was like, shut the hell up. And so then I got up and finished it. They made me a squad leader that day, which typically if you graduate a squad leader, you get a pay raise.
Yeah.
And the next week though was the Crucible. And so that night we had to kneel on the knee that was messed up for like 3 hours waiting for nightfall so you could shoot tracer rounds. And I kept switching to the knee that wasn't hurt. And my bad knee was swollen like a softball. It was awful. But I finished the week. We went to, we had the inspections with our company commander. Mm-hmm. And they're like, and I was like, this recruit has nothing to report, sir. And you look like a duck, like flapping your hands around in your shorts. And so they sent me to medical and they did x-rays. And
you're like, I have nothing to report. Your knees like this.
Yeah. They're like, don't lie to me. Like, so then I got a ride from our kill hat drill instructor and he like, he changed real quick, like rather than from being an asshole. So normally when you're in a vehicle, they make you put your head between your knees like a prisoner. So you can't see where you're going and things like that. He's like, sit up. And I was like, all right. Like, he's like, forget that I'm a drill instructor. He's like, when I first came to the Marines, I blew my knee out. The bone popped out the skin. Like I got sent home and I came right back. So he's like, no matter how bad your injury is, you don't have to give up, which is bullshit. Cause when I got home and I talked to my recruiters, they were like, yeah, I can't even get enough waivers for you to get back in right now. I was like, what? They didn't tell me it was broken either.
Oh, they didn't tell you?
Nope. I didn't find out for like 3 years. I had a friend who was a Navy corpsman and she just was like, well, what's your social number? And I can pull it for you. Cause I wanted to go back in still. And so she ran it and she's like, you had an acute fracture. I'm like, that doesn't count. That's not a broken bone. Like that's, so they discharged me for a broken bone. That's like minor. So that was my military story. It was great though.
Oh, bummer. I tried to join the Marines.
Did you?
Yeah, but if so I don't have, I didn't graduate from high school. I have a GED. Right? Oh. And they're like, yeah, we can get you in with that.
Yep.
But then like, if I was a D&D character, I would definitely have a certain background.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we can't do anything about that. I'm like, oh, okay.
My buddy had asthma. He lied about it.
I felt repentant. I wanted to I was trying to like change directions in my life and do something.
Yeah.
And they're just like, no.
Yeah. I out of high school, I went to college and I started as a chem major, but I had a lecture class, realized I could not teach myself chemistry from a lecture class. And so I said, screw being a chemistry teacher, and didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I quit school after like 2 semesters. And then I was working full time. I hated it. And then my buddy was going into the Marines and that's why I signed up. Like I literally didn't even think about it. He was like, do you want to join the Marines? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, well, I got to go meet with my recruiters. You want to come with? I'm like, sure. So we went and they started talking to me. I'm like, yeah, I'll join the Marines. Fuck it. Literally that night they drove me from Ann Arbor to Detroit. It's like 40 minutes to the MEP. It's called MEPS. And then you stay in a hotel and then the next morning you swear in and get like a physical and everything. Like I called my mom on the way there And she's like, wait, you're doing what? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to sign up for the Marines. No, don't do that. I'm like, well, it's too late. I'm already going. Like,
oh, I'm on my way. I'm in the car and they will
she
not
was
stop.
crying on the phone about me doing this. And then when I got there, I called my dad. My parents have been divorced since I was 9. But I called my dad and he's like, are you sure you want to do this? And I'm like, yeah, why not? Like, I'm going to get to travel. I'm going to get paid. I don't have to pay for anything if I don't want to. Like, sounds like a good situation. And they'll get college paid for when I'm done.
How long ago was that?
2005.
2005.
Yep. It was.
Yeah, you'd almost be retired.
Yeah. It was, when it was September 2005. It was like September 20 something. And I was supposed to leave originally October 18th. Me and my buddy did the buddy program, my best friend who was the best man at my wedding. And so when we went to leave, I couldn't do enough pull-ups in time. And so they can send you if you can do 2 out of the 3 things. But for some reason, my recruiters were like, no, we should just keep you. Don't worry about going. I was like, what? They're like, yeah, because if you go and you can't do like 2 of the 3, you'll be too tired after a couple of days. You might not be able to do that much. So you'll get held back anyway. I'm like, what? So they kept me. But I think they kept me because they didn't have their quota for December.
Yeah.
And because that's how it works. They get their bonuses based on if they get enough people.
Yeah.
So they had sent 3. I was going to be one of 3 on October 18th. They held me till December like 18th or something.
Yeah.
I was supposed to graduate March 13th, 2006. So yeah, I remember it very well because I was signing my discharge papers as my platoon did the motivation run the day before graduation right by the window. And I'm like, mother. And I'm in there with people who are like faking injuries.
Yeah.
Like it was so frustrating the last 2 weeks there because I wanted to be there and everybody around me didn't. Yeah. So, Mm-hmm. So what about your son in college? Because he's going to be an engineer, isn't he?
He is. So originally, he did like the engineering program through his high school. They would like have period 0 and go in early. But his SATs weren't high enough to get into the engineering program at Rowan. So he's a physics major.
Oh, that's cool though.
Yeah. So it's like, I guess it's supposed to be like a backdoor into the engineering program. Or he's going to be Sheldon from, I don't know.
He's not Sheldon. I've met your son. Like,
you're right. He's not
too
that
cool. Well, I met him when he was 17. He seemed like a normal kid.
Yeah, he is. He is.
Yeah. He didn't seem like a bookworm. He didn't seem like a jock. He just seemed cool, chill.
Yeah, you know what he's the most bummed out about? You guys thought we were going to talk about role-playing games, didn't you? No, he's the most bummed out about. Like, so I think it was his sophomore year in high school. He started doing sports, right?
Yeah.
He swam. He was on track and field. He was throwing shot put. He tried out for cross country, but you see how my son's built, right?
Yeah, like he's not tall enough to be cross country guy.
He's low and broad.
He gets it from his dad.
So literally, like the sport you can't get cut from, he kind of got cut from, and he just did it as a manager.
Wait, they cut you?
Yeah. So
wow.
they kept him on as a manager. He's like, whatever, I can get my letters or whatever. Right. But he's like, as soon as they started with the actual season, he's like, yeah, they were like, and we no one gets left behind. Everyone stay up, watch out for. He's like, they didn't do none of that when I was running with those guys. They always left me behind. Right. So yeah, but you know what? So yeah, so he found his place. He liked throwing shot, but when he went back, when he got to college, he joined their swim team. Cool. It's like more of a recreational, like they have meets and stuff, but it's not.
It's like a club sport.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so he went back to swim and he was enjoying that. Mm-hmm. Which I mean that leaned him up a lot too when he was doing that. Yeah. But and then the pandemic hit and now he's just basically a gamer. Sits in his room, playing League of Legends and other games with him. So for him, like not much has really changed. Like the college part from home isn't that bad for him. It's all worse for my daughter because she's very social and it's like for 2 weeks into the pandemic, can I have sleepovers? Can I sleep here? Like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah, we're just starting to hit that with our 9-year-old. We had my wife's brother came over tonight. They brought us shakes because they were like, "Do you guys want to go get ice cream?" And we haven't hung out with anybody other than twice we've been around her parents, kind of, where we tried to keep distance and that didn't work because we have small kids. And then once we were around my mom, and that didn't work because grandmas don't listen to the social distancing whatsoever.
No, not at all.
And the kids don't know how, like when they're under 10 years old, how to, like, they don't understand why or any of that. And so we had some problems with that. But tonight they reached out to us, her brother, who lives like 10 minutes from us. And he's like, "Do you guys want to," or I'm sorry, his wife reached out. "Do you want to get some ice cream?" And we're like, "Actually, the ice cream place in town, nobody wears masks. Like, we live in a 3,000 person town. Nobody respects COVID. You know, like, it's just not," they're like, "It's a non-issue." And, you know, so we were like, "I don't know about that." And they're like, "Well, what if we pick up shakes instead?" Because I then told them, like, people don't wear masks here. And they're like, "Oh, what if we picked up some shakes instead?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure. And we can hang out outside." And I was like, it doesn't bother me, but my wife is super, like, paranoid. Like, I'm careful. Like, I don't go around people or any of that. But, like, my wife is like, "Oh my gosh, we got groceries. Are we going to get sick from the bag?" Like, she's like that. And so tonight was the first time she was kind of comfortable being around somebody. So, yeah.
Me and Ted went back to filming in person, but we wear masks.
Oh, really? And while you film?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
It is weird. It's
so
not
you
fun.
Film with a mask on?
Yeah.
Can you hear? Like, I don't think that's going to do as well.
Well, you can go back. You get our channel. We got a bunch of videos that are up with it's muffled.
Watch it.
It's not bad. Like, you
made a joke in the one video about a mask, and that was the last one I saw.
Yeah, so we were doing it separate, but, like, I just can't control the sound on my end. Like, I'm in my basement. There's so much ambient noise in the microphone. It drives me nuts. That bothers me more than the muffled mask. It's like, it's going to be one or the other thing, but the amount of hate we've gotten over the masks. Like, we get people like, "Oh, good on you guys. We're glad to see you're doing that." And then, but then so many people like, "I am not watching your channel. Like, you guys wear masks."
You're just trying to show your political leanings. That's all.
So it's like,
masks mean you're anti-Trump, right?
Yeah.
That's everything I keep seeing online.
Yeah.
No.
So I don't know. So Fraginator is in the chat. He says it's hard to hear with the masks on.
Yeah. And you can't read lips a little. Like, sometimes
the
lips,
like when somebody
context.
says that to me, I'm like, okay, yeah, I respect that. Like, that's legit. But when people are like, "Oh, you're wearing a mask," whatever.
Right. Yeah, I'll have to go check them out. It won't bother me because half the time I'm not watching, I'm just listening.
Yeah. So, you know, we had, like, we upgraded to, like, cooler masks, you know, from the first set of masks we were wearing, you know, to the gator style. But, you know, the gator style, you have to wear a mask underneath of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because so it's they call it the candle test. If you can still blow out a candle while wearing a mask, that mask isn't doing anything for anybody.
See, I don't know these things.
Yeah,
I have a thicker material one that covers my nose and everything. And it's so the original one I had was cloth, and you insert a filter. But I hated that one because I couldn't get it to stay on. It would slide around my face, and, like, it was tight, but it would still, like, come up my chin and, like, hit my bottom lip, and, like, so I always had to screw with it. So I was like, this isn't working. And then our friend owns a bookstore in town, and she sells the thicker masks that are more shaped for your face.
Okay.
And that's been great because I can position my glasses just slightly down on it and they don't fog up.
Yeah.
So I like those masks.
Braginator saying 40% of my hearing is actually lip reading. Yeah, and I get it. And you know, obviously we want to not wear masks, but it just, like, so he works from home. It doesn't matter. Nobody in my house is going out other than, like, groceries and stuff. And
see, we've been doing pickup. What is it? Shipped? I don't know if you guys got that on, but, like, so we do it online, and then we just go to the store, sit out front, and then a designated shopper from Shipped brings our groceries out. Now, the problem is they screw up your order half the time. Last time they charged us for, like, 7 bags of chips, and we didn't order 7 bags of chips, and we only got 2 bags of chips. We ended up at, like, $50 miscellaneous fees that we didn't order and didn't show up in our bags. So we're like, what the hell?
That's how the grocery people are. They're stocking their pantry.
Yeah, right. That's probably how. But so I don't know what ended up happening with that. I told my wife to find a way to
Ted's wife works for a company, and they do, like, restorations, and like construction stuff, but they also do cleanups. And one of those cleanups is COVID. And it's like they're doing nothing in their office. And his wife is like, I spray the paperwork with disinfectant. I'm like, yeah, but what about the air you're breathing?
Yeah, you're supposed to have an air filter throughout the whole building.
And I'm not super paranoid. I'm just like, well, are there reasonable things that you can do? Then maybe you should do them. And also because if you don't do them and something happens, like for some of the holidays, his family got together, which is my family. Yep. I didn't do it in protest, but so they got together, and it's only like 13 people, and they're outside, but they're not really distancing, and kids are not good at that, like you said.
Yep.
And
they're all up in each other's face. They're holding hands. They're running around, so they're sweating and breathing out.
Yeah. So I mean, it's still a small group, but I'm just like, in my opinion, you're doing this. If something does happen, God forbid, well, we have to own it. Like we did that together, and we didn't have to. So I'm just like, it's a minor inconvenience. Yeah. Why don't we just do the minor inconvenience thing?
Yeah, that's how I look at it too, because I'm not worried about it either. Like I've gone into places with a mask on, like not frequently. I haven't done it in like a month, but been in the grocery store like once or twice total in the whole time.
Have you seen anybody freak out about it? Like I hardly leave my house anyway, so it's not really.
I do overreact when someone like has it like under their nose, or if they're like. So the last time I went to the grocery store, probably why I haven't been.
You're like, why are you even wearing the mask? Why bother?
There was a person in front of me who said, I can't do it for medical reasons. And so the manager was like, okay, go on in. And so I purposely stood way back. She's like standing there with her son, who also doesn't have a mask, who's like 9 years old. No reason.
What's his medical condition there?
Yeah. And then she's like pulling a cart, but she's looking at the coupons right next to it. Like she pulled it out and she's still standing there. So I purposely stayed where I was, even though she could see me. And her son like waved at me, so I waved back. But I'm like making a big scene on purpose. There was another guy that was doing in the produce area, and we have arrows on the floor too that tell you which ways to go through. So I'm following the arrows too, which but like this guy was going the opposite way.
You're sheep. Juce is sheep.
Yep, 100%. Well, I'm kind of an instigator. You know this. I'm an instigator a little bit. So like any chance I can be a dick to someone who I know is a dick, like I'm going to do it. And so the guy was going the opposite way, no mask. So I looked at him and I was like, and I turned my cart and like pushed it like out of the way. And I was like waiting there, like waiting for him to go. And as soon as he went, I went real quick.
Carry pepper spray, man. If someone gets in your radius, just zap them.
Right. I should.
And scream freedom as you do it. Freedom!
Like I don't know. I just feel like it's an easy thing. Like you said, it's a very minor.
Well, it's funny. People in other countries, like in Asian countries, they wear masks when they're sick just to keep other people from getting sick. Just normal, like colds,
Yeah, that's how
it
really should be. That'd be so much better. But yeah, so I'm fine with the, the minor inconvenience. I feel like everyone should just do it just because and not worry about it. Like, why be outraged over it?
It's weird. Well, yeah, the weirdest part is like the My Freedom people is like, they're not only is it that they don't want to wear the mask, but they also don't want you to wear it either. And you wearing it offends them. I'm like, what? Like, oh God, I just don't have the patience, man.
That's why people are mad at you guys for wearing them, because it means you're anti-Trump.
That's
the association they make.
I know. What's it mean when he wears the mask? Does that mean he's anti-Trump?
I don't know. He's starting to backpedal on that stuff. So let's not do political.
I don't know. You start talking and things happen.
I know.
What's going on?
So what do you guys think of? Because you're now playing all your games online, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think of that? Are you happy with it?
I mean, I miss our in-person game.
Yeah.
So we were only really playing one in-person game anyway.
Yeah.
But we'd been gearing up to go back to where we'd run three games a month, different DM every Saturday, and we'd take like one off.
Mm-hmm.
And so Ted had already been running, and we finally got together. We got like James in our casa and actually Brandon Runehammer.
Oh yeah.
In a group
because he lives near you now.
Yeah, he lives in Philadelphia, which
would be so fun to play with.
Yeah, it's been fun to play with him because we're playing the Expanse, and like he steals the screen grab like the whole game and just doodles. So, but like not only is he doodling like our characters and what's going on, but the notes, and it's super cool.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know how he can play the game and keep up with everything and draw it as we're going. Like,
right.
Maybe it's just me. I can't.
He's good though. Like, I've watched him doodle
good
on stream before, and he does some awesome stuff, and it's pretty quick. Like,
well, that's what I mean. He does it so fast.
He's done videos like that too, where he's like, and then you do the dice, and he's like talking about what his topic is while he's drawing stuff.
Yeah. That's what kills me, is when people can do that and they're like drawing one thing, but they're talking about something different.
Yeah. Yep.
I would not be able to. I don't have that talent, that much talent. So but now like all of our games are online, even though like these 3 games are supposed to be in-person games at some point.
You don't stream them, do you?
Nah, they're just
fun.
They're just fun games. We do have a couple games we started streaming.
Mm-hmm.
We have Those Bastards, which
I think I saw that one online. I didn't watch it though.
Yeah. So like the premise, like we were at a convention, and I was like, "Hey, Megan."
A convention? What's that?
Yeah, right. We were at a convention in Ohio, a concoction. So we were doing a gig, but Doug is in Ohio, Megan's in Ohio. Yep. So we were all kind of like hanging out. I was like, Megan, you should run a game for us. And we drafted them into the game. Megan does a bunch of writing for us and has for years, and they've appeared in and out of our games.
Yeah.
But they ran this awesome game, and we started making characters, and it turns out like we were all like half-breed characters. Genasi, half orc, half elf, whatever. So we decided was that our characters all had the same dad.
I love it.
And Doug's character, the fire genasi, is like, yeah, and like the joke is our dad will bone anything, right? and like so the fire genasi is the spawn of the joke was of a bonfire and our dad. But yeah, so then then we added Stephen Partridge, who's also another writer for us, to that game, and so we've been streaming that game, and that's been fun. And then
and this is on the Nerdarchy Live channel.
Yeah. Okay. And then Daryl T. Jones from Splattered Inc. He did a bunch of maps for us and some work for us, and he's like, "Hey, can I run a game on your channel?" I'm like, "Sure." So he's got a board game called Dabbers, and it's like these little like David the Gnome type characters.
Yeah, didn't you put something up today for that? I think there was something I saw in there today.
Thursday. We played Thursday. That game's been a little spotty. And he's like, "Well, gotcha. Can my friend play in that game?" I'm like, "Sure." And he's like, "I want my son to play," and his son's like 13. Yeah. I was like, "All right, I'll see if my son wants to play." And so David's still kind of a teen. His son's a teen. My nephew Billy is 13. So I was like, cool. And then I was like, you know what? And then I invited Fenway Jones.
Oh yeah.
The teen DM to join that game. So I was like, it's kind of cool. We got a mix of us old guys and some kids playing.
Yeah.
So we just thought it'd be fun. But like all the characters are like under 20 inches tall.
So all the short races.
They're not even. They're made up races.
They're pixies.
From this Dobberverse, yeah. So we got Dabbers, a goblin, but more like a fey goblin than traditional D&D goblin. And then I'm playing a rat, because those are like the races in his world.
Yeah.
And the rats are literally just rats, I think.
There's nothing special except they've got like hands.
Yeah. So I'm playing Rizzo the Rat Barbarian, which is a blast.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, we have done no in-person gaming either. I am running, I lost track of how many games I'm running now. I'm running Descent into Avernus. I'm running Tyranny of Dragons. By the way, Paula's across from me, so if you hear coughing and stuff, that's her.
Okay.
She can't hear you, but But so Tyranny of Dragons, Descent into Avernus, and then my homebrew BlackRock Adventures campaign. Am I running other games, Paula? I don't think I am. I think that's it.
I think the rest of your games just ended.
Yeah, I've ended all my other ones, but I was running a lot.
In a lot of like one shots.
Yeah. So then I'm playing, obviously we're playing Pathfinder Saturday. It's a one shot. I'm super excited. We got like No Nat One, who's a Pathfinder YouTuber.
Okay.
Dead Aussie Gamer, who used to be Ask a Pathfinder.
Yeah.
This guy from No Venture No Gaming podcast, which is a Pathfinder thing. And then there's Paula, and then Nate from WASD 20. Yeah, but Paula is my mini painter. She's my specialty mini painter. But yeah, so it's pretty awesome.
I feel like you're running a wife labor camp over there.
I am. She's painting right now.
You've always got her painting.
She's painting minis right now. I'm letting her. That's how she gets into this room. Otherwise, she can't come in here. It says must work for access.
Yeah.
He says I'm running it like a wife sweatshop.
It's true sometimes. This dragon is
Ted gets his kids to prime his minis, I think.
Oh, Ted does?
Yeah.
I would do that if I trusted them, but I don't trust them to prime my minis. I'm not a good painter. I'm just not.
I don't paint.
It's so hard.
I painted my first mini at Origins like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah? Do you have it?
I don't actually like painting minis. But Jason from Realmsmith TV is like, hey, do you want to come do this thing? I'm like, cool. I just like getting invited to do things that makes me feel special. So I was like, sure. But I've done that a couple times with him, and I am terrible painting minis. I just don't hang out, to be honest.
Why do you not like painting minis? It's just not enjoyable.
I worked in and around construction, from like my teens until I was like 40, but always big tools, man. Always heavy equipment, like a sledgehammer or
destructive.
Yeah, they were like the small tools. So I am not good with fine detail oriented work. I find that stuff tedious. I was so happy in 3rd edition when they came out with the pre-painted plastic minis. I was like, this is amazing.
Yes.
And
I do like the pre-painted. Like, people will complain about the level of detail, and I'm like, no, it's perfect. I don't mind it. Like, I'm like, this is cool. I understand what it's trying to be. I can tell. I like it. It's good enough.
Yeah, I mean, they're table ready. And then Hero Forge, now you can print 3D minis and
for
they
$40.
Look so good. Yeah, they are probably. I didn't look at the price, to be honest with you. But
cool,
anything on demand's more expensive. You're paying at least double.
Yeah, and they're good quality. So I've played with multiple players who have used Hero Forge before, and every time, like, they've been sweet. Like Nate from WSD 20 his character for our Descent game was a Hero Forge mini that he got made. In fact, they sponsored his character to be made for him. So but it was cool. I like the plastic. It's a little bit more firm, rather than being like real loose and flexible.
When they were doing the Kickstarter for the color, we had done some sponsorship with them, and they sent us They sent us one of the pieces, and they sent it to Ted. And most of our stuff goes there, and he didn't know that it wasn't painted when he got it. I mean, they looked that good.
Yeah, he thought it was like someone painted it though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, no, that's the 3D printed color.
Yeah, I've seen. I watched a few reviews of them when it was going to Kickstarter, and some people were like, "Yeah, they sent us the Valkyrie with the wings, and she looks sweet."
Yeah, we all got the same one.
Yeah, and sometimes like different paint variations, and some people got a couple others too, I think. But I was like, yeah, those look really damn good. Like, those look, because you can see the eye color and like the pupil, like you could see it all.
Well, you know what too? Like, I can see why people were complaining about the painted minis early in 5e.
Yeah.
They were kind of shitty.
It was like 3 colors and a muddy wash.
Well, it's not even that. The sculpts weren't that good. Like, if you like
the hag was terrible. The green hag.
When you compared them to the Pathfinder minis, they weren't as good. And it's the same company. Yeah. So it's like Watts was just probably being cheap, with the sculpts.
Yeah. Do you think WotC had a choice in that? I don't like how much how much control do they have in that? Did they get the sculpts and then send it to WizKids and say, I want this?
No, what probably happened is WizKids probably is like, we can do this level or this level or this level.
And we charge this, or this.
Yeah, and they're like, give us the cheap ones, because they can't. How could it be WizKids when they were doing Pathfinder minis, and the Pathfinder minis look so much better?
That's true.
Right,
I agree with you.
So the sculpt was there. I just chalk it up to the price of plastic, but enough people must have complained because they got better. Like,
yes,
the quality went up.
Every review was talking about how, it looks like they just did a muddy wash over 2 colors. It looks terrible. Yeah, like everyone was complaining about that. A bunch of people were talking about having to repaint them.
Yeah, for me, it wasn't even about the colors. It was the sculpts themselves.
Yeah. I loved the Tyranny of Dragons minis. I've got a ton of dragons I just put up on my shelf today. So,
although were they attached to like like that Dragonflight game or something? No,
They did that also, so they had different bases for that one.
I
They
don't
used
know.
the same sculpts.
That Tiamat was pretty lame.
I don't have that Tiamat. I have the older one that's small on the ground.
Yeah.
It's got the black wings and the black body, and that's okay.
Well, I just think it's
small.
lame because it's so tiny and puny.
Yeah, mine is small too. Like yours back there, that's from Reaper. That's not really Tiamat.
Yeah,
pretty
that's
awesome.
good. Yeah, but so if you and
Paula
I think
won't paint it though.
if you look over my shoulder, you can see the wing of the colossal red dragon.
Yeah, like you can see, it's smaller than my hand.
Yeah, it's
like
lame.
This is not the new one either. This is the older one.
It's insulting.
2006. Yeah, I wish this was like the sculpt is fine, but I wish. Yeah, I wish this was like 3 times bigger.
Like you look over my shoulder, you can see the wing to the colossal red, right?
Yeah.
Well, the colossal red could wrap its wings around Tiamat and give it a hug and make Tiamat disappear.
Yeah, I've seen that in person too. Yeah. That thing is so sweet with the fire that you can pull off of it and stuff.
Yeah. Like that's so cool. Impressive. It's so intimidating. You can take
like $300 if you want to buy it.
In its claw. Yeah, they're worth something now. I got it for Ted for Christmas one year.
Yeah.
For like $70-$80.
You're a great brother-in-law.
Yeah. Well, it was going to be on our table, man.
You wanted that on your table? No, I'm just kidding.
Kinda.
You're like, yeah, I wanted to kill it.
Yeah. No, you put your mini next to it and it's like the mini fits in the mouth, fits in the claw. Oh, that's intimidating.
That's pretty cool.
Then you got like Tiamat, your mini's like stands up to her like chest, like whatever.
Even the Reaper Bones Tiamat thing, I can't remember its name, but that's like $150. Unpainted. Unpainted.
And unassembled.
Yeah, we were thinking about, because if you do so much content for Reaper, you can get sponsored.
Okay.
And so I was talking to the guy there, and you can get, they offer it in store credit though.
Yeah.
And so I was like, and they like the way they want you to do the content is a specific way. And I was like, yeah, we don't do it like that. We just talk and bullshit while we mini paint with whatever paint we want. Like we don't have to use specific paint. And we don't want to do it like a tutorial. I mean, I would do it, but like I'm not the one painting. It's up to Paula, and she's like, I'm not a tutorial person. You know?
Yeah. I guess it depends on how bad you want those minis.
Well, we would have to use most of that budget on the paint that we'd have to use. So then it's like,
then you got to get another paint company to sponsor you as well. And
you can't do it in the same video. So they want you to use their mini paint on their minis. And it's not a bunch.
They won't send you the paint.
Right. And they don't give you anything free. They just give you store credit for certain amounts. I think the most you can get if you're doing a bunch of content is like $350.
And that's not
worth. Yeah, that's not worth the time.
That's like a video, right? You're going to get a good mini and some paint and the brushes.
Yeah. So like with the $350, I would buy the Reaper Tiamat. Yeah. So there's half the budget. And then in the other half, I'd have to buy the paint to paint it. And then I'd have to use all
that's one video.
Yeah. Well, no, that would be like 30 videos because that's going to take forever to paint.
Yeah.
But they want you to they consider a piece of content one video from start to finish. Or I'm sorry, one miniature start to finish. That's one piece of content for them, the way they view it.
Yeah, that's not worth it.
Yeah, like, and for us, that's 2 nights a week of about 4 hours at least. You know, and so it's just not quick. And then to get that maximum amount, you have to do a lot of content or more content.
I mean, but in fairness to them,
I get it.
For it to be worth it too, it's got to be like maybe like Black Magic Craft, you know.
Sure, like they got to sell
numbers.
Yep.
But.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure they got other deals with other people.
I don't know. We stopped doing sponsorships for product a long time ago because my kids cannot eat plastic paper. So.
I respect that. I understand it. Like, so the worst thing is when someone is like, hey, if I send you a free PDF, will you review it? And I'm like, a free PDF of what? Like, is it 2 pages? Maybe if I'm interested in it. If I'm not interested in it, no. If I'm interested in it and it's less than 10 pages, I might do it. But if it's a full RPG system, that ain't happening. I don't got weeks to read it and learn it and do a review for a free PDF.
There was a Maximum Apocalypse.
Yes. Yes, I interviewed him too. We sold like 2 of those on stream. It was great.
Yeah, so we did a sponsorship with those guys. Mm-hmm. And my buddy
Steve's cool.
My buddy Todd.
Or Scott. I don't know.
Scott is the author.
Yeah.
My buddy Todd is, connected with that company, Rock Manor Games, and he did his Set and Watch game through that. And his Set and Watch games, it's this, like a card game, tabletop game about playing, setting a watch during a D&D game.
Okay.
His Kickstarter did pretty well. It did like 6 figures.
Wow.
But he called me up and he's like, hey, the company I work with, they're going to do an RPG for this Maximum Apocalypse. Would you take a look at it and, maybe play a game? And I was like, well, my first question was, how many pages are we talking here? Like, what a time? And this is a friend. He played in my like 5-year-long D&D game, and I know him personally. And I was like, how long is this thing?
Yeah.
So turns out I never ended up reading it anyway, but they ran a couple sessions for us, and the game was a lot of fun.
It's like percentile based. It looks really cool.
I wish
I backed it.
We ran through a character creation and we created characters, and with that, then we played 2 sessions, and then they wanted to do sponsorship, and I was like, cool, we'll do that. And I was like, if you want, we'll even throw in a stream game just because we had fun with it.
Yeah.
And so I got a whole new cast for the stream game, and they set us up with pre-gens and ran through a game, and a bunch of people that never played it ran through it pretty smoothly. Like, they modified some things for stream.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things I said. Is I was like, if you're going to show this game off in a stream, you might want to think about, smoothing out some things so it runs a little faster while people are streaming it. Your home game, it doesn't matter. Like all those fiddly bits and crunchy stuff, it doesn't matter. But on a stream game, you need things to kind of like flow.
Yeah.
Right? And not to be looking up rules and be overcomplicated.
It's easy for a stream game to go slow.
Yeah. I was like, look,
for some reason,
if you're trying to sell your game, you need to show people playing it and having fun.
Yes.
Not looking up rules. And also, like, they also had the quick start guide, so people could go and download that and check it out while we're playing. So if they wanted to know something about rules, it was there. And then we also had some people in the chat that could answer questions or whatever.
Yep.
But yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. Like, they had really cool rules for crafting and creating things that were. It gave you that scarcity feel without being like overcomplicated.
Yeah. When I was talking to him, like, it just sounded like a really fun game. And percentile based games are usually easy to jump into, it seems. You know what I mean? Although
I will say that it is one of the more intimidating character sheets I've seen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because there is a lot of stuff on it.
How many pages is it?
It's 1 page, but but there's a lot of things in there, a lot of terminology, and but it does actually kind of flow pretty easy, and once you know where to look for things on it, because there's a lot of different skills, there's a lot of
very specific skills too.
Based off of your attributes, but it was kind of like you were trained in or you weren't. Kind of deal. They used the advantage and disadvantage mechanic from 5e basically. So your tens die, you could have advantage or disadvantage on it.
Oh, cool.
And then like you could have like levels of success.
Yeah.
But which
like Warhammer.
I have no idea how Warhammer.
Oh, Warhammer's percentage based too, and they do that too. You have levels of success, and it's in tens. So like if you're 10 better, I think it's 10, maybe it's 15s. But
this was like if you got half of what you needed, or if you got a quarter of what you needed.
Yeah.
It was a number of successes.
Yeah. I'm not well versed in Warhammer, but I played a game of that, and I played a game of Zweihander, which is the same deal. And it was a lot of fun. I have never opened the books, never read them, but I had character sheets and I played. And I was like, this is easy after like 10 minutes.
Yeah, and that's how this was. That's the kind of game that I want to play. I don't want to have to. I mean, one of the
you don't want to play Pathfinder with me?
I'll play it, man. But one of the things that's intimidating about Pathfinder, how many conditions are there?
So the conditions I know there's a bunch, but most of them don't apply to like. It's not like D&D where a condition only applies to a character. Like a condition might be a broken condition for a weapon. You know what I mean? Like it's not that bad. I know it looks bad. That part is the easy part of the game.
Oh no.
No, it's I mean, yes, it's more complex than 5e. You got situational modifiers, you have things like that. But it's the thing that you got to get used to is the traits are what matter. And so like certain traits prevent you from doing certain things. That's about it. But if you have a game master who knows what's up, then that's all. Then you'll be good, I think. I don't know. I haven't played my first game. I'm playing my first game tomorrow.
We made characters. That's as far as we got.
I've made
we made
now.
characters, and then we kind of. I think we did a video on it.
Yeah.
And it was like our characters. I'm pretty sure if we showed up to a game with hardcore Pathfinder,
they'd be like, "This is wrong."
Players, they'd be like, "Get out of here! You guys suck."
I cannot figure out for the life of me how to power game second edition, and that's great. I love that.
Yeah.
Personally. So, but like, so I was talking to my friends that I'm playing with tomorrow. I was like, what are the OP combos? Because I can't find them, and I'm glad I can't. But what are they? Yeah. And then they told me this wizard combo with a half orc. I think I told you pre-stream.
Yeah,
You can do at first level like 2d12 plus 4 damage at 500 feet away with your axe. And I was like, that's kind of cool.
I don't know, man. I bet if you YouTube it, somebody's got them out there.
No, there's like nobody doing Pathfinder YouTube videos.
Did it land and like no one cares?
I don't know. I did a review on the Advanced Player's Guide last week, and it's my most popular video in the last year. So, I mean, it's not like I'm doing great views or anything, but it's for me, it was a good video. And I like doing Pathfinder videos, so I'm cool with it.
I don't know. You got Necromancy Guide. You got the How to Build the Witcher. A bunch of stuff came
up. Oh, yeah,
up.
that's just the one channel, though. And he does what you guys did with 5e of like creating like iconic characters, like comic book heroes in Pathfinder.
Oh, yeah.
And he's controversial because a lot of people don't agree with his builds, I guess.
I see a couple of D6 damage.
Basics for gamers. Yeah, Q Times. They do occasional videos.
Black Dragon Gaming. Oh, that one's that one's a little old. Has it been out though? I guess it's been a while now.
Yeah, it's been out since Gen Con last year, I think, right?
Yeah.
And then it had playtest for a year before that.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a couple people I guess doing it.
Yeah, but there's not a lot of stuff out there. So if you want Pathfinder, subscribe to me because I'm gonna be doing a bunch of Pathfinder. As I learn it.
Look, man, you got Pathfinder 2e, 4 awesome and unique level 10 fighter builds. Oh,
there you go. Fighters are pretty cool in Pathfinder. Paula doesn't like fighters in general, so she's over here like, wah, wah. Mike G says, I'm a fan of both Master of the Game and Nerdarchy. Great team up stream. Hey, we've done streams together. We've done quite a few over 5 years.
We've done a few. I mean, you've been on our channel a couple of times.
We played games together in the past on stream.
Oh yeah,
we hung out at Gen Con on stream.
there's been some like really old
chat
one shot group. There was a bunch of games like
yeah. So speaking of
Palladium,
which,
your jam.
It was. I can't claim it anymore, but
yeah,
you know, I'm over it. I'm over like.
It's funny, man. I was talking about Palladium.
Yeah.
Doug's hanging out in the chat. He's like, but they're not around anymore. I'm like, no, they are. They sell the same exact books they were selling back in the 80s.
Yeah, no, they are 100% around still.
Yeah.
They still put out like 3 books a year.
Yeah. We had this one friend who would rave about them.
Yeah.
And it's this guy that just makes the games in his basement. I'm like,
it's not in his basement.
I don't
they have
know
a
if
warehouse.
that's a selling point for me.
They have a warehouse. They've had a warehouse ever since I've been following them. It was 20 minutes or 25 minutes from my house, and I couldn't find any of their books in any stores.
Yeah. Oh, and the warehouse is like right there.
Yeah, it was like 20 minutes away from 30 minutes away from my house, and I could not find them in any gaming store. And then when I did find a gaming book in a store, it was their first edition Heroes Unlimited, not their revised version that they did in '97. It was the one from the 80s.
Yeah.
And that was all they carried. I take that back. Riders Hobby used to have them as well. But Riders Hobby went out of business in that area. So
did you play in the Super Spies game?
Ninjas and Super Spies?
Ninja and Super. Was that Robert Ogre that ran
was
that
the
game?
one yeah, so we were doing like 80s.
Yes.
Yeah, I turned into a pro wrestler 5 minutes into the game.
Yeah. SR2 Joker was playing like a mall karate dojo like master. It would always fight like right-handed, but he's actually a southpaw. And for the
Yes.
fight, he does weird stuff like that.
That
And for
was
the
a great
final
game.
battle, he switched hands or whatever.
Yes. That was a fantastic game. I would have played a campaign of that.
Yeah.
The other game that stands out that I know you guys played in, we were doing like TMNT. I was a coyote mechanic, and I think SR2 Joker was the GM.
He ran it. He was the GM.
Yeah, he ran it, and he let me ride the motorcycle across the roofs of the building. And then, like, didn't someone get like backhand smacked at the end? And Ted was like, "Oh, that escalated quickly."
I think so. Like he was playing like a squirrel, and I was playing like a mutant hippo.
Yes, it was so much fun.
It
You can have fun with Palladium if you're willing to ignore the rules sometimes. Like that's the reality of it.
Yeah, there was another Supers game we played of that, and the GM was like, and here's where Nerdarchy Dave breaks my game, because he's like, you guys can have one weapon of your choice, whatever you want. Or no, he looked at my character and said, you don't have any really like powerful weapons. Why don't you take one? I was like, all right, I didn't even know what anything was. I was like, how about this rocket launcher thing? Like, okay. It did like 10d10 points of damage or something ridiculous.
Was it Rifts or was it Heroes Unlimited?
It was a Heroes Unlimited.
Oh, who was running it? Was it what was his name? Vegvari or something like that. What was his name? There's a YouTube channel that used to run a bunch of Palladium as well. I can't remember his name. Damn it.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. That wasn't the GM.
Sean?
It was the GM was AJ Pickett.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. Oh yeah, we did the
it was like this space thing. I
remember that because we were like attacking a building top or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
And there was like ships trying to take off or something. I'm like, well, I do have this gun thing. Can I use that? Yeah. And he's like, yeah, let me see the stats for that. And I'm like, okay. And like, you told me to take one of these.
I think my character could run super fast.
Yeah.
Is what his power was in that game. Yeah, like
I made like a Hulk character with like because there's like one of the powers is monster form.
Yes. Yep. Like so the most fun I've ever had with Palladium was playing it online with all of you guys.
Yeah.
Like in person, it was always like, yeah, it was fun. But
you know why? Because you're like playing with a bunch of GMs.
I think it's just people who are just more chill.
Yeah.
You know, like when I've played it in person with people, it's almost like the people I've played with, because they are usually fans of that system, they like the way it is. Yeah. And so they're very literal and like, well, the rules on page blah, blah, blah say to do this. Whereas we're like, oh, roll a D20 with advantage. Like, because we're playing 5e also. So we're like, roll with advantage and, oh, do this. Like, yeah, you want to do that? Fine. Yeah, go ahead. Flip that car, even though technically by the rules, you're not strong enough.
Yeah, I mean, RPGs are so much more fun when you don't care about the rules so much.
Yeah.
Like literally someone just read a dissertation comment on one of our videos, right? I know the video is Jeremy Crawford's not the boss of your D&D.
There you go. I like that name.
Because essentially like everyone is always writing Jeremy Crawford and asking for permission to do things, right?
Yeah.
In their game. And I always look at that and go, like, why are you asking? Like, it's your game. Just play however you want to play, whatever's fun for you and your group. And, it was just this dissertation of why it's important have these structured rules and that everyone has to follow the same rules. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, whatever, dude. Like, when we were playing AD&D, the rules were barely usable and you had to make it up anyway, right?
Right.
And then 3rd edition was like so dialed in. There was a rule for everything. And you always had to stop and look it up. And you had that one player that wanted to fight with the DM on how it worked.
Yeah.
Right. And then when 5e came out, they went back to, being based on rulings instead of rules. Like the rules are ambiguous and vague on purpose. Like even they don't want to tell you what the rules are because they want you to figure it out at your table.
Mm-hmm. So do you remember when 5e was about to come out and Mike Merle said that it was going to be modular?
Yeah.
Like whatever happened to that? Do you know?
It is modular. They just don't do anything with it.
Not like they explained though. It sounded like you were going to layer on complexity. So like if you liked 3.5, you would be able to make it like that, like more customizable. I don't feel like it does that.
So there's a couple companies doing it, and we've actually experimented with a little bit.
Yeah.
With our hit dice to heroics. Like the hit dice mechanic's a great mechanic, but it's underutilized. You could use that to do a lot of different things with it and use it to power other things. And that's kind of like what we've done and experimented. I want to do more with that. I want to do more with inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've started doing story points in my games.
Yeah, like stuff like that. I think it's like it's easy to add things to it. Like, did you get the Theros book?
The what book?
Theros, Mythic.
Oh, no. I don't have it. Well, I do have D&D Beyond and everything, so technically, but I don't. No, I haven't read it.
Yeah. So
I haven't bought a book since Descent into Avernus.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, they send us all the books, and we have D&D Beyond, and
right.
I mean, half the time we just give the books away. To be honest with you,
right.
But for a lot of time, for a while, we would buy them and give them away.
Right.
But they have a thing in there. They have supernatural gifts.
Okay.
So every character just starts one. It's like, hey, take one of these feats or one of these abilities, and it just slap it on your character.
Yeah.
Like that is a good example of how it is. Like the modular, I think they were talking about, and you can do other systems like that. Also, they have the piety system in that rule set as well that anyone could use. It's another example of like, here's a modular thing you could add to your character.
Gotcha.
So like we're looking at things like that to explore, with the game, and I think that's where the fun's going to be.
Has it added a lot for you guys? Like a lot of fun to the game for you?
We have not added those into our personal games.
Okay.
Messed with them, but like we see the potential for that. So like Pathfinder is moving around these like little tiny fiddly bits, right?
Yeah, there's nothing OP. It's like, oh, you get a +1 circumstance bonus to this specific thing if you take this feat. Yeah.
And then, but 5e is like these big. You make these choices that are big, and they change your character in some way.
Yeah, but you don't get choices every level.
But like, you don't get enough of those choices now.
Yeah,
right?
I wish you had a choice. Like I love 5e. Like to me, it's right now today. 5e is my favorite system. When I play Pathfinder 2nd Edition, that could change. I don't know. I think 5e will still be my favorite system to run, but I have a feeling 2nd Edition Pathfinder might be my favorite system to play because I feel like, at first level, you're making choices with, well, from your ancestry, what is your ability going to be from that? You get a set amount, but then you get to choose something. From your background, you get some stuff, like it's, and I feel like the stuff you get from like your background is more meaningful than D&D 5e background stuff. You know what I mean? Like there's flavor, but there's not any substance, I guess.
No, there's not really supposed to be. You're going to get like a tool language.
Yeah.
And a couple skills.
Right.
Like
you might get a cool feature like a retainer or, whatever. But
so that's when it's a bad design. If you look at that feature and it does something in the game.
Oh, from 5e?
Yeah. Like if
I like the retainers though.
Yeah, but they're role playing, right? They don't really do anything.
Yeah, they're supposedly not allowed to get involved in combat, which I think is stupid.
Yeah. But,
they shouldn't be able to wipe anything out. They should literally be like 4 hit points and 1d4 on a hit.
Commoners. They should be commoners. If they do stuff, they'll die. I would totally allow that.
Me too.
they're there for role playing, right? But all those benefits are like, oh, you can stay at a place, but you have to go talk to somebody and role play with them.
Yes.
Like that's how the features are mostly supposed to work. Like the closest thing to useful is the Outlander's ability to provide food.
Yes.
And like the Urchin's ability to move around cities.
Yes. Like always knowing, they always know where to find certain things or something like that. I don't even remember.
Yeah. So like a good feature for a background is one that requires you to role play with somebody.
Yes. I agree.
And I mean, that's what they're designed for.
So I do like the flaws, bonds. Love that part of it.
Yeah.
In my opinion, get rid of alignment. Just do that. Like, I think, and just make you do a few more choices too. And then there you go. There's your personality, and it's varied and it's a little more gray area. Like to me, that's perfect. That's how I would do it.
I hardly ever use that stuff.
You don't use it? Oh, I role play the heck of it.
I think it's good. I'm glad they put it there. I think it's great for players who want more, want ideas to draw from, or maybe they're new to the hobby
Yeah.
and they want to understand how to flesh out their character.
Yep.
But I don't like. I play my characters a little more intuitively, and I
Sure.
figure them out as I play them,
I do that too a little.
and then stay kind of consistent to whatever I come up with.
Yep. I'm not someone who writes a backstory before I come to a table. I will never do that.
Nah, screw the backstory.
Yeah, screw that. Did you play in the game with Robert Ogre? It was a 5e game where I was playing a halfling barbarian.
I may maybe I don't
So
know.
we were in a dungeon. Robert Ogre was running it, and so one of my character background things as a, I don't remember what background I took, but was raised by wolves. And so I asked him, I said, can I reflavor my weapon attack as a bite attack? And he's like, sure. So I was raging. My barbarian halfling ran up and jumped off the knee of whatever monster and bit the throat, just like a wolf, and ripped it off because I critted. And I think I was using a great axe or something. So it was like 1d12. So I made it 2d. Like, it was great. And we just, and I killed it. And that was my most fun, I think, one shot. And like, I love halfling barbarians because of that experience. And it's all because of that little character background thing.
I'm playing a human cleric. What is it? What domain is it? It's one of the UA domains. Dusk or no? That's not
okay.
It. Twilight.
Do you guys use a lot of Unearthed Arcana?
Yeah, we use it. I don't want to say a lot. Like, if you're playing in our games, we're like, anything from Watts is fine.
Sure.
Generally, so we.
You haven't had problems with Unearthed Arcana? So I tend to not allow it, and it's not because I don't want my players to use it. It's because I've heard of horror stories of like, once they publish it in a book, it changes it.
Yeah.
And so then they like remove it from D&D Beyond, and so then you have problems with like, leveling up or whatever.
Well, if it's on your character, I don't think it changes unless you switch over.
Gotcha.
So you like have to make I think, because Ted's playing one right now. So I'm playing this Twilight Cleric of Gubliet, the Goblin God, and so he's an urchin, but his background is he's raised by goblins.
Nice.
So I just make up all kinds of crazy, weird goblin lore as we play.
Yeah. See, that would be fun.
And then like one of the characters is playing an Aarakocra, but based off of a vulture. and so it's Goblin Kate, and she describes Fletch as him being kind of a shitty person.
Yeah.
And we were doing something, and Fletch was carrying one of the other characters, and the GM was like, you can either drop that character or save yourself, or drop that character and save yourself, or you can try and
survive,
save that character as well from whatever problem that was going to happen. And they were like, I'm totally dropping that character.
There's like,
and from then on, right, my character is just followed around Fletch and calls Fletch boss all the time, and just sees that character as the epitome of what a goblin leader would be.
A survivalist.
Yeah.
That's great.
And so the Twilight domain gives you this ability where you can have advantage on your initiative, or you can give it to somebody else.
Oh, cool.
And it's like you can just renew it all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like I always just put it on the boss.
Nice. That's awesome. You're such a kiss ass.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So that reminds me, I loved your Warforged Druid, even though we only played that like twice. It was supposed to be a campaign.
I
loved how you flavored it all the time. You're like, and so like it starts morphing into this giant spider. And I was like, yes. Something like an erector set.
Yeah. There's now a Druid domain in the new Ebron book by Keith Baker on the DMs Guild that basically does that. So they still look like Warforged when they wild shape.
That's cool.
So like you can't pass as like a normal animal, and I love that.
Right. That's perfect, actually. I like that.
Yeah, the most important, folks out there, the most important part about that, if you're going to role play that, is whenever you wild shape, you got to go.
Yes.
For like 15
Transformers.
Yeah, absolutely.
So back when 5e first came out, you guys, I remember you talking about playing a mountain dwarf wizard.
Yes.
How long did you play that character?
5 years.
5 years? So
But we're
like,
playing once a month.
oh, okay.
No.
Did you get him wearing like heavy armor and stuff?
Oh yeah, I
want to play that type of character.
we talk about like optimization,
Yeah.
but it's funny because none of us play that way. We talk
Yeah.
about the shittiest characters in 5e.
Yeah.
Like we play those characters as our characters at the table.
Right.
So I started off as a wizard, Mountain Dwarf. So I got medium armor, and I could use it axes and hammers.
Yes.
And then at second level, I think I took fighter, right?
Okay.
And obviously, if you're playing that character right, you would start as a fighter, and because I ended up that you have to take the feats in order to get the heavy armor. But I wanted to be a wizard that fought. I didn't want to be a fighter that wizard.
Yeah.
So that character is 6 levels of Eldritch Knight, and 14 levels of War Wizard.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you did go the Eldritch Knight route still.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I wanted more.
See, I wouldn't even go fighter. I would literally just do wizard, and at 4th level, instead of saying the API, I would just go heavy armor.
Yeah, but one of my favorite moves was to fireball myself, right, and use absorb elements, and then crank up the absorb elements. So then action surge, and then my next attacks were with my a flaming axe. And I also took damage, but yeah. Whatever.
This sounds cool. So this shows how to touch him. I've not played much with multi-classing.
Yeah.
So with this absorb elements, is that an Eldritch Knight thing?
No, that just is a spell, right?
Oh, okay.
It's just a spell.
You got me all excited. I was like, oh.
No, but the reason why you need it, so I wanted more spell casting. I wanted to optimize spell casting.
Yep.
I love the bonded weapon stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yes.
But what I wanted was, action surge and the second wind, that kind of stuff was still pretty cool. I still wanted to be able to get extra attack, things like that. That's what I was kind of looking at. But absorb elements lets you take half damage, and then the next time and it's a 1st level spell. The next time you attack something, you do a D6 of that energy type. Cool. I would, if I made the saving throw, I would then only take a quarter of the damage. Everything around me would take the fireball damage. And then you could, instead of using a 1st level spell, you could crank it up. So every spell level increased it by a die 6.
Yeah.
So then the damage was even more. Also, double fireballing in the same round with action surge.
Oh, that
is super cool. But my favorite move was Steel Wind Strike. And when you can action surge and do that twice in the same round, that was pretty devastating. You're rolling like 10 attacks.
Yeah.
And something's gonna crit, right?
Right.
And more than likely. And that one attack's gonna do what is it? I think it's like 6 die 10 force damage, which becomes like 12 die 10 force damage.
Gosh. So I'm forever the DM, it seems, when I play 5e. So I once you get past 4th, 5th level, I have no idea what's out there. What are the spells? What are this?
I for the first half of 5e, I did a lot of DMing.
Yeah.
And then I just stop DMing and just playing.
Yeah.
And it's been kind of great. I would run our fan game. We do a monthly fan game that we alternate. I would run that, and then for a little while, I was running my family game, which was my wife, my son, my nephew.
And your wife's not a big D&Der.
No,
she was just doing it because it was a family thing.
Yeah, well, yes and no. She's kind of new. She's been getting into it more.
Oh, cool.
So she got sick a couple years ago and stopped. So she hasn't worked since then, and she's actually had both of her hips replaced.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So she's got this really rare neurological disease called NMO. It's in the
NMO.
Yeah, it's in or Devic syndrome also. It's under the kind of MS umbrella.
Yeah.
But it's not. So what happens is when you get attacks, your spinal column constricts, and it causes your the spinal fluid to pool. Apparently, that's really important. So when that happens, is it does damage, like nerve damage and stuff like that, and that stuff is kind of permanent.
Yep.
Well, she's had this for over 20 years undiagnosed. We just got her diagnosed a couple years ago. She had issues with her eye, and she would lose vision. They put her on steroids. She'd get it back. That happened a few times, and they just couldn't find
But they never figured out what caused it.
No, and then she had a couple times where she's had hiccups for weeks,
Yeah.
like, and not be able to get rid of them other than like getting sick for weeks on end. It's crazy. Well, she had been in a car accident in December, a few years ago, and then like a couple months later, she started having all these problems, and we're like, we thought it was from the accident, and so she was already like going to see doctors and stuff based around the accident, and it just happened to be a coincidence. So she started losing the use of the right side of her body, and then she got to the point where she couldn't keep food down. So I'm like, you're going to the ER if you can't eat. We need to do something. And we found out later that there was like a team that it takes care of your care, and like 18 of these 20 doctors are like, hey, we think you got an inoperable brain tumor, 6 months. And there was like 2 doctors are like, no, I think it's this other thing. And they totally like housed it. They're like, I lost
lupus,
hiccups, and like, what's going on now? And they're like, we think it's this thing, like, because like she had to get these like really specific tests to get it diagnosed. Well, she, one of the treatments was heavy steroids for a long period of time, which gave her back, most of the use of her body, and
she started getting buff like Arnold.
Yeah, because that's how those steroids work.
I know.
And but the problem was the steroids caused necrosis in her hips. Oh. And her hips were like collapsing in on themselves. So
it sounds painful.
Yes, it was very painful. Like she lost all mobility in her legs. Like there was no lateral movement. Yeah. So, now it's so much better. But it took like about a year to get that all taken care of, get both of the hips done. And now she got these like treatments that she does like twice a year. Yeah.
Is she starting to get kind of back to normal, like living then?
No, she is so much better than she was. Like the biggest part was the hips and the mobility. Yeah. And now like we had to get through that for her to even know what was wrong with her from the other stuff.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I remember talking to you about it like in the middle of it, and like you could tell how worried you were, because you were like, I don't know what's going on. Like I remember
it's some scary stuff. So I mean, we've been working it out, figuring it out. But she hasn't worked since then. Now the pandemic. Yeah. So she literally got her second hip replaced the last day they were doing their surgeries.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
she just got in then.
Yeah, they were making all kinds of changes as we were leaving. So she like skated right under the wire for that. Yeah. And like even the care wasn't exactly the same as it was the first time around, because a lot of the in-person stuff wasn't being done the same way. I mean, fortunately she'd been through it once before. Yeah. So really that's all still kind of recent.
Wow. So let's segue into something more positive then. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, it's good that she's feeling better.
Man, she didn't have an inoperable brain tumor, so
that's true. That's a good thing. So, you guys used to talk about your homebrew world with like the boulets that were like your dwarven
Stonehomes.
Yeah. So, is there ever, because now you guys are in the publishing game, like big wig publishers now.
We got a book almost out.
That's all it takes. That means you're a publisher. So when's your world coming out?
Hold on, Juice. Hold on 1 minute.
Dun, 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 dun. By the way, in the chat, someone said the Glitter Boy is awesome. If you've ever played Savage Rifts, the first edition, the Glitter Boy is awesome in Savage Rifts. Just wanted to put that out there. I don't know how it is in the new version, the revised Savage.
It's so disappointing, Juice.
That's cool.
It's so disappointing. I have a stack of the books.
And you can't.
It's like
them?
3 of them. They sent us like the preliminary copies for us to look over, and I don't know where I put that stack.
We could have been the first ones, couldn't we?
What's that?
You would have shown it for the first time here.
I think I've shown it here before.
Oh, I thought I was special.
Almost. You are special. You're very special. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. Like Ted has one that's now sitting on our shelf.
That's cool.
How's
it look? Are you happy with it? Are you happy with it?
Yeah, it came out great, dude. It was so nerve-wracking. Like everyone was like, "This has got to be so awesome." I'm like, "No, man. I'm just stressing about all the stuff that I probably missed that I'm not even seeing right now."
Don't worry. Once the reviews start coming out and people are like, "Oh, they misspelled this and
Yeah,
this,"
Like, I mean, Doug went over that book a million times, and then after that, I was like, "Doug, you're awesome, but I also want to send it to a proofreader," and we hired Matt Click.
Okay.
So if there's problems in it and there's things that got missed,
it's his fault.
Yep.
All right. If it sucks, I'll message Matt Click and say you screwed up.
Yeah.
I was worked on some good stuff though.
There was a Twitter conversation the other day with Matt Colville.
Yeah.
And out of the box came up. And then like I think he took a bunch of like products from that conversation and put it in the description for his last video.
Yeah.
So it made it in there.
Yeah.
As well. So that was kind of cool because I
noticed a spike in sales.
Yeah, it's small. He didn't actually mention it during the video, or it'd probably been a much bigger spike.
Yeah, but that's funny.
But people are using it. They seem to be enjoying it. I've been using it in my games.
Yeah.
I'm playing a game with like I said, with my nephew, my son, my wife, and one of the boys' friends. And I was like, you know what? I could think of stuff, or I could just use this book we made.
Yeah. I have a Kobold Press one that's got like little dungeons and like the monsters. Yeah. It's like just drop it into your game. It's so nice to be able to do that.
The layers. Oh no, prepared. They prepared 1 and 2. I've used. I have
the first one, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's very thematic. So like you can reskin things, but like it's very specific of what, like if it's bugs, it's bugs. Like just but just reskin some stuff.
I also like there was this company, they did this like corporate event. They're like, we want people to run Dungeons and Dragons. And I was like, sure. Although it was a little off-putting because like there is literally like 2 people in the game that like had never played. Yeah. To be like thrown on a stream together.
And they're adults.
Through it.
And they're adults.
Yeah. But yeah, so and again, like, and it was only like, I guess we were supposed to do like 2 hours. And one of the people were like, yeah, we should all just run Fandover. I'm like, what? And they were like, at first they were like, we want to do like 6 to 8 players. I'm like, listen, I'll do 4 or 5 players.
Yeah.
In 2 hours. And I'm going to run some of my own stuff. Well, because what I said is it's like if you have 8 players in 2 hours, that's 15 minutes a piece. That's if I say nothing. And you guys are paying me to be a dungeon master. That would be a terrible experience. I don't think I could give you a fair game.
You wouldn't get very far.
For 2 hours.
Yeah, you wouldn't get very far.
Nah, you couldn't do anything.
Yeah. I mean, was there an option to do it longer than 2 hours?
Oh, you could.
Because, like, if you're doing it for maybe 4 hours, that might work for a short game with 8 people. But, like, otherwise, you're right. Like, 4 people for, like, 2 hours, 3 hours is probably ideal.
Yeah, and that's what it was. I was just thinking, like, if we're going to do it for X amount of time and give them a good experience, I think this is what it needs to look like. Because I feel like some DMs are going to be like, oh, you're going to pay me to Dungeon Master? I'll do whatever you want. And,
nope.
and not really think about it as far as, what kind of experience it is. Yeah. And I'm kind of like, well, are these players going to actually have fun playing the game?
Right. Yeah, like those 2 people who have never played before. So did you end up running it then?
Oh, yeah.
So what the 2 people who had never played before, what'd they think?
I think that it was super weird because I think the one guy was working during it, and it was like, because there's people from all over the world. Yeah. So it ended up being like I had 3 players for part of it, and the one is like, oh, I have to go if a call comes through. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I ended up running it for the 2 players, and we had fun. Like I mashed together a couple of the out of the box encounters, and made up some stuff. And I've been on this kick lately of bringing back old school kobolds.
Oh, okay, so the dog kind.
Yeah, the little dog lizard.
I can't do that. To me, I like them way more as like dragons.
Dragons, yeah.
It's just so much cooler than dogs. Like, I don't know. They just were so weird when kobolds were dogs, in my opinion. They were so wussy. You know what I mean? Like, I imagine them as like little poodles. And then like as you smack them, they're like, "Arr!" and they run. Like that's how I envisioned them.
Google Tony D'Arlizzi's kobolds.
Okay, I'll have to do that.
They're pretty sweet looking.
What's his name?
Tony D'Arlizzi.
Yeah, I've never heard of that person.
Really?
I'm not good on artists. DR.
Chronicles of what was it? Spiderwick Chronicles.
I don't know what that is.
It's a movie. It's a book. Oh, great movie! You should get it for your kids to watch.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not able. I'll have to figure it out later. You'll have to send me a link later.
Have you ever heard of Planescape?
Yes.
Yeah, he's that.
I never played Planescape. I didn't play third
He's
edition.
the artist.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's like the crazy little. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, all the Planescape art was like that. Look was Tony.
Were they still dogs in third edition?
No, that's when they switched to dragons.
Gotcha. Okay, because I remember second edition they were dogs, and I was like, I don't like it. And then obviously I played Baldur's Gate where they're dogs.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, I mean, it's fine. I actually think it's cool to have like kobolds be able to be multiple different things. Like if you want someone.
Yeah. Well, so honestly,
make sub races of them.
I'm playing one of the campaigns. I'm playing. Steph's in it. Ted's in it.
Mm-hmm.
A couple other folks are in it. It's my Court of Worms setting that I kind of made up for Saber Dice. We did like a short season of that, and it's all like reptilian races with ruled by dragon emperors. So I have like actual kobolds in there.
Yeah.
But like for monster kobolds, I'm using the old school ones.
Gotcha.
And also they're less reptilian, so I think it sets them up as being better bad guys for that setting.
So being someone who came from like Palladium, so Rifts was you have dog boys in there. So to me, those were cool. Then to go and play second edition D&D with kobolds, like little tiny things that don't hurt you very much, and it's easy to kill. I was like, these are weak. So like, they've always been inferior for me.
But I mean, they're kind of that. But that's how kobolds have been in D&D always.
True.
They just made them look cooler in third edition,
and they have pack tactics, which is awesome.
In fifth edition,
and if you slap some armor on them, you're good to go.
But everything's like that in 5e. Like they're all like the monsters scale better.
Yeah.
Because bounded accuracy just works.
I agree. Like, so like earlier I was saying I like a lot of the stuff in second edition Pathfinder. I like the rules of D&D 5e. Like I really like how easy it is to get in and play. Like there's very little I would change in regards to that. So yeah, I don't know. But like Pathfinder, the rules again, they're crunchy, but I like the character customization. Like that gets me so excited to like start putting things together. I'm like, oh yes, and then you can do this, and I've always gotten excited about that stuff.
So Gods of the Great and also Dungeon Class. There's
love those guys, by the way.
Guys. Yeah, so we've been ignoring a bunch of their questions.
I know. Sorry, guys. Even Randall Hampton.
It's me, Juce, trying to talk here.
Sorry, when I talk to Dave, like we talk occasionally off stream and stuff. So when I get talking to Dave, I get really excited.
Yeah, it's the same way for me. Like when when I had like Doug does all the scheduling, which is awesome for the live chats.
Yep.
And so I don't really know who's on until like the next day most of the time.
I do my own setups and I'm the same way.
Yeah, so the day before. So I get excited when I'm like, oh, it's Juce or Jason from Realmsmith or Satine or like someone who I'm actually friends with.
Yes.
And not just acquaintances with or know of from the industry. It's like it's a totally different vibe.
Exactly. And then like I get caught up talking. So normally, like if I'm talking to like a person in the industry, I'm like, oh, okay, what are they saying in chat? But like when I have a friend on here, I go.
Yeah.
So what have we missed here? Let me scroll up a little.
So Gods of the Great wants to know favorite kind of video to make.
Oh, you go first.
That's easy for me. Like we love making stuff and creating stuff, and they always bomb. They're like no one cares. Like
you keep doing it.
BFF, one of my favorite series is just two random monsters and put them together, figure out how they work. Nobody cares. So
for me, this is hard. My most fun thing is these things. I like these chats, especially when I have a guest I like. Like there's sometimes where I have a guest I just don't know. And sometimes you're like hoping that you have chemistry. And sometimes it just falls flat.
And some people just aren't good at these. Like they're just like either maybe they're super introverted or quiet.
Or more structured.
Yeah.
Because I'm not structured with it. I'm like, let's just talk.
We're just here rambling, right? Back and forth.
Yes.
But then sometimes you get someone and it's like you have to feed them a question, and they'll answer it with like 3 words, and then you got to feed them another question.
Or in my instance, I had someone who was like, I really want to talk about these like 3 things on stream, but other than that, I'm open. I'm like, all right, cool. So then I was like, so what were those 3 things? You want to talk about that first one you mentioned? And then they went on and read a full web page of their website. And I was like, I wish you would have kind of just left them wanting more rather than reading them the page. It was a cool site. Like, don't get me wrong.
That's a little weird.
I think he was nervous. It was his first time doing a show. He was actually cool. Other than that, he was great. But like a couple of them, he just read through his website, and I was just like, this isn't entertaining for me.
I mean, there's a couple I've been really nervous with. David Harbour. When we had him on, I was like, super nervous. And then, I had an RA on today. I was nervous of going into that one. But that one was a lot of fun, and he was just great to talk to, and like really personable.
When's Joe coming on?
I don't know.
You got to work that out. Doug, get on that, man. Doug, you're dropping the ball.
Yeah.
And then you got to get Big Show on too, because he plays in Joe's game.
That would be cool.
Just cycle through all of Joe's home group, and you're set, man.
I know a couple people, but
Rage Against Machine. Come on, like these are great.
Do they play?
Yeah, their bassist does. He plays in Joe's group.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you got to look at his celebrity group. He's got like tons of people who play in his game. He runs for like 8 people. It's great.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he runs a big group.
Ted, for the longest time, was running like 7.
Yeah.
I mean, and his group has been up to like 9.
Yeah.
You got to play in person for have that many people, though.
You know what? As long as you don't do a lot of combat, I mean, and you have people who are role playing with each other, like, I guess that would make your job as a dungeon master easy.
Yeah.
But if they're not like that and they're more like, let's do some combat, like that would get boring. I think.
So, Gonzo the Great, gnome or halfling, to play, eat, or date?
To date, halfling. To eat, probably a gnome. And what was the third one? Oh, and to play, halfling. Someone said gnome or halfling, Paula. She's giving me a dirty look, like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah. They
and
said
so Dave said to play, date, or eat.
Yeah.
So
That's context. I figured I would be an ass.
So I like halfling.
I love gnome. I love playing gnome illusionists.
Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, it's just a holdover from early days.
I don't think I played a gnome.
But then I also like playing a halfling too. Like my D&D in the Castle character when I went to France.
Yeah.
Was a halfling archer, and DM Tim was our GM, and then he did a team up, or he did a crossover with James Intercasa's group, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like I just optimized that character to the balls, and they did like a contest of champion style, and Tim was just like, I'm so sorry.
So that's interesting that you just brought that up. So you just brought up D&D in a castle.
Yeah.
Now that's something you guys have been part of since day one. One, how did that come about? And 2, obviously it's not happening this year.
Yeah.
Probably won't happen next year if I was a betting man, but what do you think is that still going to continue after next year, or?
I don't know, man. They're pretty passionate about making it happen, and they've done some really cool things with it.
Yeah.
The first one came about because I saw and I was like, that's a cool thing. I saw the price. I was like, wow.
Well, yeah, you got to travel to Europe.
Yeah, but then in the 5e group, one of the guys that was involved the first year, there were some cancels, and he was like looking to fill those spots last second.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, if you guys need a Z-list celebrity, let me know.
Z-list.
Yeah.
Tell them if they need a new Z-list celebrity, I'll volunteer.
Yeah. So they cut me a deal.
Yeah.
They gave me like a huge break on the price, but it wasn't free. So it was still an expensive trip. And I didn't get to stay in the castle. I stayed at like.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I stayed
I
at
didn't
one
know
of the
that.
side. Like I stayed at one of the houses where like the staff was staying. But
the stable house.
Yeah, it was
with the
basically.
horses.
But I stayed with the promoters. I stayed with the people that put on the event.
Oh, okay, cool.
So it was cool. And so we'd go up there and play D&D.
Yeah.
for 2 sessions, 3-4 hours a session for 3 days.
That's crazy.
And so that was a lot of fun. So, but because I did go and do that, I got to meet the promoters, Cameron and Tara, that put it together, and hang out with them. And then the next year they decided to do separate castles, and each castle had a theme. Like there was going to be, Satine had her own castle, Nerdarchy had a castle, and then there was 2 others I forget the names of already. My brain, sorry, doesn't work that well. So, but then this year they were just renting this one like bigger castle, and it was just gonna be 13 tables. So like we're gonna be we're one of the ones that had our own castle.
Yeah.
And that's not a thing anymore. So that was like cool. And we like had this weird story with our castle as well. And it was supposed to be a Caver's Wall castle.
Okay.
The castle got seized by the bank. And they found out like the week of the event. And they had to move it to Langley Castle. No, Lumley. Langley was the other one, to Lumley. And it still happened, but it happened in a different castle. And it was weird. Like we had written our adventures, the 3 of us, all based around the other castle.
Were you going to do the thing where you walk around the castle and play things in different rooms?
We weren't necessarily going to do that, but we wanted
Everyone
to
freaked out about somebody doing that a couple years ago. Who did that?
Jeremy Crawford did a lot.
That's who it was.
Yeah, Tim did a little bit of it, like for a scene. Like there was definitely pros and cons to doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we had written a whole adventure for the 3 of us based off of this one castle, and we end up in a different castle, and the other castle had a bunch of peacocks, right?
Yeah.
So we did a bunch of stuff that were themed for peacocks. And now we're at the castle without peacocks. And we're like, well, this adventure's happening at Caver's Wall because that's the castle that we wrote. And they're like, these people are gonna just think we have a weird peacock fetish.
You didn't like preface it at the start, like, so you guys know.
No, they know. Yeah.
Gotcha. That's fun.
Oh yeah, and like we had like a cosmic imp type character that was based off of Lemmy from Motorhead, because he was originally from that town that the original castle was.
Yeah. So they brought up Tom Morello was the guy from Rage Against the Machine, but Vin Diesel. So originally Joe Manganiello said that Vin Diesel, on some talk show, he's like, just so you guys know, I don't know anybody who plays with Vin Diesel. This is before Vin Diesel played with him.
Yeah. He kind of called him out.
Yeah. And so
he always seems really cool, but at the same time, he's been really kind of weirdly call-outy with some of that stuff, like with the wrestling thing. Like he kind of jumped in on that and was like, well, whatever, why? And
see, and I've been a fan of Brandon Cutler, by the way, since before that thing. Like I knew of him before he was even back to wrestling again. But yeah, it was weird because like, I don't know, like everyone was like, oh, well, that's bullying. And it's like, yeah, but it's wrestling. Like you wouldn't freak out if the character in a movie made fun of another character in the movie.
He's like the one character's the heel character, right? And
he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
And he's great at it. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
But no, the castle was not cold. But you know what? I run hot, so I like being cold. Like
me too.
I hate being hot.
Paula gets mad because I push all the covers off of me, which then makes them all go on her, and she doesn't like them bunched up.
Yeah.
But she likes to wear like 3 blankets in the summer. So at first she was like, "You're talking about me," and then she's like, "Yeah, that's true." I don't know.
My wife is the same way, and I also like. No.
Yeah.
My feet always feel like they're on fire.
Oh, dude, yeah. Like if I am always like right now, I'm like super hot. Paula's probably comfortable. I hate this. You're chilly? Are you for real?
Yeah, my arms are.
It is hot out here. Like I'm sweaty hot, like gross, wet, sticky, sweaty.
I want a freezer at the end of my bed to put my feet in at night.
That sounds great. He wants a freezer at the foot of his bed. I think that sounds great. I have a fan. So we don't have side tables, but we have cutouts in the wall. Like where our headboard is. Yeah, indentation. Sorry. So, anyways, I have a fan right there that blows
Yeah, cut out
along me
weird.
while I
Like, what are
sleep.
you guys into? I don't know.
I mean, you want to know?
Air conditioned blankets.
Oh, they have air conditioned blankets?
Yeah, they're like cool flow blankets.
I would totally do that in a heartbeat.
You can get.
Let's get one. Are they on Amazon?
Set that to Arctic.
Yeah, dude. I need that.
Everything's on Amazon. It's taking
So, the D&D and the castle thing. So, is it comfortable? Like, is the furniture there like old and dated? Is it
So
comfortable?
they use castles that are like set up to be hotels, essentially.
So modernized.
Yeah, mostly. I mean, it still has all the aesthetics of a castle.
Sure. That makes sense.
And,
What shirt is that? So this is the Brandon Cutler shirt. He's a wrestler in AEW who also he's part of a tag team called the Initiative with the Librarians. And yeah. So anyways, Glenn just asked about it.
Have you tried to get him on your channel?
I've asked him so he and I used to talk on Twitter, and then all of a sudden one of my former players, he started playing D&D on her Twitch channel, and ever since then I've not been able to get a conversation going with him. I've asked him a couple of times. I'm like, hey, if you want to come on. I've offered to run for him, run D&D for him when he was talking about not being able to find groups. Like, I've tried so hard. Everyone just needs to tag Brandon Cutler on Twitch and be like, you need to play with Juce.
Dungeon class, is it echoey? Some of the rooms are, and that's why I didn't do the walk around. Like when we were in the cathedral and we ran a scene there, it was super tough to hear. Other rooms were kind of like that too. And like, I don't know, man, I am like a no frills D&D player. Like, we sit at our table,
chill,
theater of the mind, maybe some minis. Ted does more. He'll do more with terrain and stuff than me, but for the I am just theater of the mind and laid back and no frills.
So I think we talked about this before. You're more casual, right? When it comes to playing D&D, you're just a casual DM, casual player, right? Isn't that how you described it before?
Maybe, I don't know.
Or laid back, maybe is the word. You're just like, yeah, whatever. Let's just have fun and roll some dice.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I'm definitely there to go with whatever the players want to do. And
you're not like super serious, like, oh my gosh, you got to do blah blah blah.
Yeah, no. I mean, for
multiple
me,
styles are fine. All that.
For me, a big part of it is the social aspect too. It's just an excuse to get together and hang out with people and enjoy this hobby together. Some people like to hang out at the bar and watch sports. I like to play D&D.
Yeah. Do you still watch Critical Role? I know you used to for your reviews.
No, we did. So Ted watches it. I watched it for when we started. We were like reviewing the different episodes for season 2. And we there wasn't that much. There was some interest in it, but not a lot. And honestly, I just was not into watching it. I think it's cool they do it.
It's too much of a time commitment.
It is a huge time commitment. And once the dice came out for them to like get into fights and stuff, oh my God, I was so bored out of my mind. Like, frankly, when people are like, "That's not real D&D," I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
It is.
It's like totally real D&D, just at a higher level.
There's clips where Matt Mercer's annoyed with his players for not moving forward because they're like screwing around. Like, it's real D&D. They're not scripting it. I'm sorry, it's not scripted. I hate when I see people say it's scripted. Hate that.
Oh yeah, it's lame. So that was my main takeaway, and like I would put it on my TV and watch it, and like the fights would break out. They'd roll initiative, and I'd start nodding off.
Were they just not flavoring it enough, or? Because I have not paid much attention to Critical Role.
Nah, I mean they kind of do, but watching D&D fights to me are kind of boring.
Yeah.
Like I even stream games, and I'm still like I try and do things that are more interesting, but I will do that in our games anyway. Like just because I just don't want to. I hit it with my axe.
Yeah, I talk smack sometimes if I have another fighter
like
in the group.
There's a bed in the room. Well, okay, can I throw the bed at him? And next round I'm gonna light the bed on fire.
Yeah, or jump off of something.
Yeah, totally unoptimized, but I don't care. Like,
so do you like Acquisitions Incorporated?
I've watched some of them, and some of them have been pretty interesting. I'm just not I just don't watch.
I hear you.
I don't consume D&D content.
I hear you.
I create it. I can't do both.
I understand that too. I don't have enough time in the day to make videos and also watch a lot of it, unfortunately.
Like I think that it's great that it's out there and people can watch and see what's going on. But
I agree.
like, and there's people that watch tons of streams. I'm like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Like, how do you get anything done in your life?
Right.
Like,
Well,
I
that's
won't
when they
play
do it.
video
They do it
games.
while watching the stream, though.
Yeah, I don't
You
play
know?
video games for the same reason. I was like, it'll
I
just
love playing video
consumes too much time.
It can. So I'm somebody who doesn't play a lot of video games, but when I do, if I do it during the day, I can moderate it. Like I can do it for like
Yeah.
an hour or two and be done, depending on what's going on around the house. Oh, don't give me that look. Don't even give me that look. But like if it's nighttime, everyone's asleep, there's a good chance I might be playing the video game when people start waking up in the morning, depending on what I'm playing.
So Glenn says I passively watch but mainly listen. Former over-the-road driver. See, I
makes
worked in
sense.
heavy construction where I did a lot of driving
Mhm.
and a lot of stuff that I could listen to stuff. But even then, I would listen to like audiobooks.
Oh, okay. I used to
Yeah.
listen to Skywalker. I don't know. I can't think of what it is, but it's an RPG thing, and he would talk about his own world. And like,
Oh yeah, podcast. I think
I think it was
I
like
think we had him
Skywalker
on-
Studios or something.
yeah, it is something like that. We
Mhm.
had him on the live chats the first time around.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he was cool. Like I loved that podcast so we're talking 3 years ago now, but I used to listen to it every time he had a new episode. And then he eventually moved to YouTube. I subscribed, but I don't see his stuff ever.
Well, yeah, it's hard to keep going, man.
I'm subscribed to too many people.
YouTube, it ain't easy.
Right. But I mean, all he was doing was taking his podcast and throwing him over there, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But I used to get a lot of ideas. That's my favorite content to watch, is anything that inspires an idea for my homebrew world. Like that is my favorite stuff to watch.
Yeah.
So like when people talk about like top 10 magic items or best monsters, or like that stuff, it gets me with the clickbait, but at the same time, I do not give a crap. Like at the same time. So it's weird that I'll click it still. But then I'll watch like 5 minutes. Sometimes I'll make it through the whole thing. But I'm like, why am I watching this? Like this is adding no value and it's taking 10 minutes of my life that I could be working on something.
Yeah, honestly, like Guy How to Be a Great GM is one of my favorite YouTubers that I don't watch because like his content is so good, but it's always like 30 minutes plus. And I just look at the time, I can't watch this.
I get distracted by accents. So I won't consume the content. Like if it's a good content video,
you're just listening to Guy and be like, oh, that voice is so sexy. I can't.
It's not even that. Like I'll be like, what did he say? Like, or he'll say a word that isn't used commonly over here, and I'll be like, what is that? Like, and I'll be so hung up on that I'll miss the next like 3 sentences, and then I get frustrated. I'm like, screw it, and I get off that channel. But Guy does put out a lot of good stuff from what
I like XP to level 3. A lot of times I'll watch Jake.
He entertains me
because he's just funny and stupid.
I liked his Tomb of Horror videos.
And before anybody gets mad who's a fan of him, like I'm friends with Jacob. I love Jacob, but his videos, they're just dumb entertainment. And mindless, and I love it.
His Tomb of Horrors videos were good. I liked how he talked about it and how it went when they ran through it. And then he talked about what he would change in the separate video. I really liked those two a lot, you know? But yeah, did you watch those? You would probably like those.
I don't know if I watched those ones or not.
Oh, okay. I learned a lot because I had no idea what happened in Tomb of Horrors.
I'm in it for the antics. You know?
Yeah.
I see Jacob with the guitar, like I'm there.
Or he's laying in a bed, like on the floor or something.
Or something's dumb.
Yeah. So my favorite ones are when he goes back and he'll be complaining about a rule and then he's wrong.
Oh yeah.
So then the next video is like, apparently I was wrong last video.
Well, you know, as a YouTuber, that's just something you got to get used to.
Oh, it happens every time.
We get shit wrong all the time, and then they freak out in the comments. How did you not know? We did. We did like the strongest character build this week, and they're like, "How did you not know you could get a 30 if you had the gauntlets of ogre powers, storm giant strength spell, and a hammer of thunder?"
Can you do that though? Does it stack like that?
Yeah, it's like very specific to, and it's
Gotcha.
It's only under the Hammer of Thunderbolts like entry.
Gotcha.
But you're like, you caught us. We don't have everything memorized. We just we don't even really play this game.
We didn't Google this first. We tried to figure it out on our own, guys.
Or like when people complain about production stuff, I'm like, Patreon's right over there, bud. If you help out with that. It's the audience is so demanding sometimes. They want They want free, professional grade everything.
Do you think that's your audience though, or do you just think that's random people stumbling across your channel?
I don't know.
Is it the same people every time complaining?
I don't pay that close attention, dude. I up to 50,000. I responded to every single comment, and after that, now I can't even look.
Hear that, guys? Dave doesn't care about your comments anymore, so come comment on my stuff. I reply to everybody.
I get distraught because there's so many comments. I just can't get them. It's just like,
no, I get it.
To the tail, no more.
It's funny. Like I remember one of my first big trolls happened to be a church burner who made his own RPG, and him and his cultists used to message me all the time. I know they made videos about you at one point. What was his name? Varg.
Oh, Varg Vargason?
Yeah, I don't know, something like that. Anyways, Scandinavian guy, I think. But he was my first big troll, and every time he would comment on a D&D video, because he'd tell me how terrible the rules were, and I'm like, I didn't write the game. Like, but then his cultists would come over and do, like, just boom, just blow me up. And then it was funny. For a long time, I have not had a lot of trolls. Like, they would even comment about, like, you need to do this better. It would only be if I made a mistake in a video about rules. And people would jump on me about, like, how did you get that wrong? It says clearly on this page and this paragraph. But then I had a good one last week because I did a Pathfinder 2nd Edition review of the core rulebook.
Yeah.
And someone was like, you should have done this video 2 years ago. You suck. like, whoa.
Yeah.
Just going off about it. And then I had another person who's like, oh, you're still in the theory crafting stage. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, whatever. People, you can't do YouTube if you can't handle criticism.
If you have a thin skin, sure.
Yeah, you can't do it.
Like, or sometimes we'll like see comments, not necessarily on our videos, but somewhere else.
Yeah.
Be like, their audio is terrible. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like,
right. They have like a professional $300 microphone. Everything's perfect. Like,
I mean, it's not great with the mask on right now. I'm not going to lie, but, but before that, I'm like, maybe our early videos when, the equipment definitely wasn't it's super weird, man. Or like, I think it was today I saw a comment. It was actually an old one. I just happened to see it today. And it's like, why are you even in the video? You should share nothing but screen images. And
there's
why are you commenting here? Why don't you go? There's channels that do that. Go watch them.
I was gonna say there are channels who do that and they do it well.
Yeah.
So go watch them.
Bruce Smith, awesome. Davey Chappie, awesome. They do great job.
Basics for Gamers does that. Now his stuff isn't as entertaining, but his stuff is very good about Pathfinder 2nd Edition rules. Like it's very thorough. And it's not taken straight word for word out of the book either. Like it's him explaining it, but he's got like text on the screen so you can like follow along. It's good. It serves its purpose. I've thought about doing that before, but I feel like that's so much editing work. And I'm like, I don't want to do all the editing work to make it interesting, showing a bunch of screenshots,
that's just a lot of work. And for us, like for what we do, it's like me and Ted talking to each other. That would be weird, right?
Yeah. Dungeon Class says, Juice, did your little one get the marble out okay? I didn't see the outcome. We haven't seen the outcome either yet.
One of your kids eat a marble?
Yeah, our 5-year-old. So this summer has been a nightmare with 3 small kids. I'm just saying. And then, so we are very strict about not letting our kids go and be up in everyone's face, but every single other parent in like a 1-mile vicinity of us is allowing their kids to just play freely outside with everybody else. Yeah. And so we're the mean parents who don't let our kids go outside now because they can't control themselves. So anyways, we were outside for like 2 minutes the other night or maybe we were out here. I don't know. As soon as we got out here, my daughter came out. She's like, Caleb swallowed a marble. Oh my God. And so we went in and we're like, I don't know what they're going to have to do. Like if this doesn't come out. So he got so scared. He's like, I don't want him to cut me open. He threw up. He got himself so worked up.
Oh my God. No marble though, huh?
No marble. And we're like, dude, do you have any stomach pain? Anything? Paula went and called the doctor and nothing.
If they're not in pain and they're eating and everything is working its way through.
That's what they said. As long as he can keep some water down, he's fine. However, 2 days passed. We were supposed to call the doctor today. We didn't. We'll probably call him Monday if we have to.
If the child lives, we'll call him Monday.
But they'll basically do an x-ray. And then if things look fine, it sounds like they won't do anything. But if it seems like it might be an issue in blocking food or something,
Yeah.
then they might send you to a specialist to have it like extracted somehow. I don't know how, but yeah. That's what it sounds like for people we've talked to. I don't know. Someone in my Discord said that their sister used to eat all their Legos and nothing ever happened. So
when we were kids, who knows what we were eating?
I don't think I ever ate anything like that.
Oh, we used to do all kinds of dumb stuff. I remember getting shocked from sticking a penny in the electric socket.
Dude, we used to, so I don't know about you, but we used to have a lamp that, like, you have the twist lamps to turn them on, right?
Yeah.
Well, that was gone. So we had it so it was permanently turned on, and the way we turned our lamp on and off was by twisting the light bulb.
Oh, yeah, so
Yeah.
we got burned.
No, one time in middle school, I went to do that, and apparently the bulb wasn't in there. And so I put my finger in the socket. And I remember getting shocked and like going, and then I had to force myself back onto the floor.
Yeah. How old are you?
12 maybe.
No, now.
Oh, now 35.
35. Yeah. So I'm a good like decade on you.
Yeah.
When we were kids, that's some shit your dad would trick you into to see what would happen.
Yeah. No, I don't even know why the bulb wasn't in there. Like. My sister was probably 7, so she didn't do it. My mom didn't do it because she wasn't hanging out in my room. Maybe I took it out. Like, I don't know.
You forgot about it. Exactly.
Yeah, because like that, I sometimes would do that. I would take it out and set it on the desk, or not the desk, but the bookshelf, and then sometimes I'd just, you know what I mean, rather than leaving it partially unscrewed. I don't know.
That's why you need Dr. Kurt. You need Dr. Kurt in your game, like we got. So one of our players.
There's been so many things like I remember as a kid. Like I remember we used to throw plywood in the creek.
Yeah.
And then the idea was you jump on the plywood and quickly jump across before getting in line.
Yeah.
Well, we were doing that, and I was like second or third in line, but the kid in front of me like stepped and landed in mud, and so he grabbed a tree branch and pulled it down, and then let go and
smacked you in the face.
It scratched completely out my face, barely missed my eye. Yeah, but like I have a scar too. You can't tell because of my beard now, but I have a scar from it. That's how bad it was.
My middle brother, like the one we don't talk about, his childhood was hell. And I might have had something to do with it. I remember we were running around as kids, and it was the winter time. So we had like a kerosene heater. He fell hands first on the top of that. Mm-hmm. And it was, oh man, it was so bad. He had so many injuries growing up that were like that. Yeah. From being the middle child. It was ugly.
When you guys were kids, were you pyros?
This is recorded.
If you did anything criminal, don't say it. But were you like, so when I was little, I lived in a town called Ypsilanti, a city, and it's not a good place. It's pretty run down, like, you know, high crime rates, things like that. But anyways, us kids, we used to go in the woods. Like we would, like, if our parents had matchbooks, we'd take the matches into the woods. We'd put all of like the old brown leaves together and start fires in the woods.
So where we grew up was more rural.
Oh, okay.
So we had woods, and we would hang out.
Ypsi was rural too, but we had like pockets of woods, like real small woods.
So we would hang out and I don't know why they were called the Texas Trails, but they're called the Texas Trails, and they were basically fire trails that were like cut through the woods. Mm-hmm. You know, and we were always setting shit on fire.
Yeah, we used to do it all the time, man. And like, I talked to like my wife, and she's like, "We didn't do stuff like that." I'm like, "Damn, maybe I was a bad kid."
Throwing rocks at cars and like
snowballs.
Yeah,
we used to take eggs, and I lived in a trailer park, and we would throw it from 1 yard over as many trailers as we can, and see which house we'd hit.
Yeah,
and then we go like walking down the street like nothing to see if anyone was outside looking at their house.
Yeah, my middle brother had to get stitches like right by his eye. Oh, because there was like an abandoned garage, and we would like climb up on it and stuff, and like we picked off the shingles and were winging them at him. Yeah, and, like almost took his eye out. I was like, I feel bad now, like because we were terrorists. We were terrible.
Yeah, we
like,
were too.
And you know, in the 80s, like we were unsupervised.
Yep.
Like doing all kinds of crazy. Like my kids hardly ever go out, and my wife and my in-laws are like, they can't go around the block.
Okay, I'll be in a little bit.
And but like when we were kids, it's like my mom would be like, come back for dinner, and you hear the door behind click, you know, as she locked it. We had like a sand quarry near us.
Yeah, we had like sand Sand dunes.
20, 30 foot like cliffs that we'd ride our bikes up and down.
Oh, jeez.
And then you would do that until the guy in the the loader and the bulldozer came around and chased you out, you know?
We used to go into a golf course.
Yeah.
Like, because there was a hole in the fence. We used to go in there and we'd catch turtles in their little ponds.
Yeah.
And like we would always get chased by like management on a golf cart.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, "Don't you come back again." Like, it was crazy. Oh, fun memories though. If only I played D&D as a kid. Dang it.
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, it's amazing we survived to adulthood.
Right?
You know, building and jumping ramps. And we was like, hey, you 4 guys lay down on the ground in front of the ramp. I got a great idea. We just do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. See, Glenn, so he's from Michigan. He understands what Ypsilanti's like. Yeah. That's where I spent the first 10 years of my life before my mom moved us to Saline. So, and Saline's like really uppity, like a Ritchie area, and Ypsilanti's not. Like almost every kid I knew was from a single parent household in Ypsi.
Yeah,
like it was just rough.
So where I live now is it's the same town I grew up in.
Oh, okay.
I moved away and come back, but it's like this weird mishmash between suburbs and rural. It's not really either.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they don't like. There's like just developments all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Yet where I live off of a county road. The property that butts up to the back of my property is a horse pen.
Oh,
so,
nice.
You know, but you know, and then like up and down our road, you have like horses and cows and stuff.
Right. That's funny. I can't imagine you living near like farms and stuff.
Yeah. But they're not like real farms. They're more like people with pets that are weird, you know, than it being an actual farm. Like it's not real rural.
Right.
Not, you know, but it's not suburbs or either. Because you know what happened as the town built up, they just would build developments.
Yes.
They would let very few businesses in, and then, you know, the farmland would just get eaten up by developments.
Yes. That's what's happening. So when we moved to Saline, we had tractor day at the high school for like 3 or 4 years until a girl fell and cracked her head open, like because it was so high. And then they stopped that. But like that town was about half like farms. Now, when you go back, because we're talking like late 90s, now there's like no farms there. There's just one side of the town, but way out that has a couple farms, but it's not like what it used to be. It's crazy. And that's right next to Ann Arbor, which is a big college town. So, yeah, it's crazy. So, we've been doing this for like 2 hours. I think this is a good stopping point.
I was wondering, I was like, did I ask Juce if we're going to end this at any time? I'm like, how do I get out of here?
No, we're good. Now that we're talking about farms and stuff, I think we're good.
That's the closer.
Yeah, you know, she thinks my tractor's sexy.
I told my wife, I was like, it'll be about an hour.
Yeah, I mean, normally I go an hour, but it depends. Like sometimes, depending on who it is, I'll go a little later. So
I mean, 2 hours went by pretty quick too. So
yeah, well, you know, we have a lot to catch up on all the time. We don't talk every day. Not like we used to. You're big time now.
Well, actually, my Facebook got hacked.
Yeah, what happened with that? Because one day I went on there, I was like, gonna try and work this out with you, and then I was like, wait, he's not on here. And then I was like, wait, where's Nerdarchy at? Like both of it was gone.
So my Facebook got hacked.
Was it the artist people?
I think so. Like, I mean, I think it's connected to that, but you know, it got hacked, and then what they did was, it's pretty clever actually. What they do, and they don't delete your account. What they do is they post things against terms, a bunch of stuff immediately, and then either it's stuff that they know gets auto flagged, or it's stuff that they then will flag themselves, and that gets your account banned. And it's like when you reach out to Facebook, they're like, "Hey, my account got hacked," or you're like, or if, "Hey, I want to dispute this," they're like, "No, we looked. You're definitely a terrible person."
Right? They're like, your last 100 posts were all about like murdering people. Like,
but it's not even that. It's like, I think it was like one post with like 5 or 6 images in it, and it was like, I saw the images and deleted them because I didn't know what they were, to be honest with you.
Right.
But not fast enough, and they must be like terrorist organizations or something, you know, something, or some kind of hate thing.
I had something like that a long time ago where it went and friend requested all these like foreign people and like these foreign like sites that I couldn't read the language. I couldn't even begin to guess what language it was. Like,
Yeah, and
it
that's
was
what I say.
like,
When I say
"Mm."
images, they were probably words.
Oh, okay.
You know, and yeah, and then it's like it happened so fast, and next thing you
Yeah.
know, like the account was just gone. So now I'm like working with some friends to try and get it back, but it's been quite the hassle.
Is Facebook doing anything about it?
Well, that's just it. You can't talk to anybody at Facebook. So I literally had to go through a back channel with one of my contacts who has a company that does media buys, which means they professionally work and probably spend a lot of money through Facebook.
Mhm.
So I knew that they would have an account manager.
Yeah.
And then their account manager had to put them in touch with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And they would just tell me to do things like even they don't know how it works, their system works. And they're like, here, just follow this link. And I would get through and I would think I'm making progress. And then it would take me to a page that says security and a button to click to continue, but you click the button and nothing happens. So, and then
It's like, sorry, that account is gone.
yeah, pretty much, right?
It doesn't exist.
So, and honestly, it's so stupid because literally a human could go and look and go, oh, different IP address. And they've never posted anything like this before.
Right.
And be like, oh, this is clearly what they said it was.
Yeah.
But you can't get that to happen.
Yeah. So Dave, I'm going to put you on the spot real quick. So you said you would play Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Would you play a campaign of it or would you just do one shots?
I would play, like, it depends on like how
Availability.
I think like one of the things I've learned from doing this kind of stuff is like to set the expectation. Are we playing 3 sessions, 6 sessions, 12 sessions?
Right.
How often? Because you can always add more, right? If everyone's
Yeah.
like bored.
That makes sense because I was talking to Michael about that too, and he's kind of like that. He's like, we run short like 9 episodes seasons or 12 episode seasons. He's like, and it makes it really easy to like finish because otherwise you never finish.
Yeah, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Because you can always do it again, essentially, right? Or
Right.
add half a season or whatever you want to do.
So I'm thinking of picking up, there's a couple short, like 64 page modules, like Fall of Plague Stone is one of them. It's like really short, right? So, like supposedly it's like 3 sessions. So I would assume it would probably take 6 to 8 sessions online. I don't know. I'd have to look.
I'm just telling you, if I do this, I'm probably playing a Goblin Alchemist, whether the party needs it or not.
That sounds fantastic to me. Yeah, new Pathfinder, 2nd edition, Glenn.
And I'm just blowing things up.
You know what? That's cool. So I'm playing tonight or tomorrow. I'm hoping that I will be ready in a month or 2 to run it. So when I run it, I will reach out to you.
Cool.
And if you're available, we'll make it work.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. It's like when.
Yeah, I get it.
Things.
You're big time, man. You're like, you've went from a Z-list celebrity to at least like a Q-list celebrity.
We're big time. We're the most blown by YouTube channel on YouTube.
Yeah, but you guys are steady.
We are.
Other people like spike.
We've always gotten to like the same amount of subscribe. Like it averages out over the past 6 years to be about the same every month, without fail.
Yeah. No, I love what you guys do. You know that. So, anyways, is there anything you want to plug? Anything coming up on your channel?
I think we're doing the normal stuff. I mean, we're getting ready to actually ship the books. Like they're on their way over to our distributor. They should be there in the next 11-ish days or so.
Oh, that's not bad.
And then we want to start getting the books out. And we have the next Kickstarter we're working on that we want to get out there. But we figure we should probably ship these books first.
Yeah. So when are you announcing the new Kickstarter? Like,
I don't know. Not until after we start shipping books.
Okay.
And we got delayed like a month.
Yeah.
With everything that happened.
So you're looking at October to have everything out?
So we should start shipping mid this month.
Oh, cool.
We're gonna get them, and then I'll see. Well, I guess it could be longer depending on how long it takes our distributor to start distributing.
Yeah.
So
and they're located in the Northeast, aren't they?
No, they're in Texas.
Oh, Southwest. All right.
Yeah, so they're in Texas. Yeah, Arknight is going to be doing our distributing because we're doing the flat pack minis and stuff through them.
Yeah, that was
so
awesome.
We figure we might as well have it all go out from the same spot.
Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. Well, for any of you who backed it, congratulations. I'm still mad about that, but
Yeah. Well, we got the pre-order over on the website. They've been flying off the shelf. We also
And anyone that orders the pre-order, they get a special deal on order getting the PDF immediately, or you can just go buy the PDF. So,
all right. Well, I might be able to make that happen. How much is it retailing for right now?
The PDF is $25.
Okay. How much for the physical?
Physical is $49.99, and then like $10, $9.99 to add on the PDF.
That's not bad. Cool.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, we couldn't give them a better deal than we gave the people during the Kickstarter. So
yeah, I hear you. That's good though. I like that. So yeah, if you haven't yet, go and pre-order the out of the box encounters. It looks really cool. I was messaging Dave like every couple days, like, oh, I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy it. Yeah. And then I was like, I would talk to my wife. She's like, can I think about it? I'm like, that's cool. Dude, I'm gonna buy it. I told her, I was like, Dave's doing it. I gotta support his Kickstarter. And then, things kind of came up, so it didn't happen.
Sure, make Paula the bad guy.
I have to. She is the bad guy. She's the financially responsible one in this house.
Somebody's got to be.
It's not me. I'm like, ooh, I want that. Like, that's how I got into Pathfinder 2nd Edition all of a sudden. I'm like, I want that.
Yeah.
And then I, made it happen. Well, actually, I said something about it and started talking about it, and then she bought it for me for Father's Day.
Oh,
so
nice.
Yeah. So that's how she got me. But and now I'm loving it. So
cool.
But yeah. So, anyways, guys, it's Nerdarchy. They're bigger than me. You probably are coming from them. So if anything, subscribe to me and all that good stuff. And then continue to support Nerdarchy.
Oh, good, man.
So
everyone watches all the same stuff anyway.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I see a lot of familiar names, so yeah. But anyways, that was it. This was Master the Game. I am Juice. As Dave would say, stay nerdy, but I'm also going to do mine. Game on.
Nice. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, thanks, buddy.